Chapter 2094. Let's go. Emojantian turned around and left with his people. He couldn't let his people see the aura of the 100 races of the celestial realm skyrocket. It was extremely disadvantageous to their aura. *CK, what the hell is this? They took the initiative to challenge us and now they've become soft eggplants. Lin Chuan cursed. He still wanted to fight. Forget it. It's fine as long as we win. We'll fight whenever they come, Yishan said. Lin Chuan, Longjin, you guys stay here. Night Sorrow, you come back with me. There are some things to take care of, the Grand Elder said as he stood up. Nodding at Lin Chuan and Longjin, Night Sorrow followed the Grand Elder back to the heavenly desolate city. When Night Sorrow and the Grand Elder returned, the cultivators who were standing at the city gate all stepped back and made way for them. After entering the city gate, the Grand Elder stopped and took 2 steps to the side. Everyone, pay your respects to the human sovereign. Pay our respects to the human sovereign. The cultivators of the 100 races of the celestial realm all bowed to Night Sorrow. Everyone, including the Golden Dragon King, the Heavenly Astral King, Huang Ling, the Green Rock Patriarch, and the others. After speaking, the Grand Elder also bowed to Night Sorrow. Grand Elder, you can't do this. What are you doing? Night Sorrow was anxious. He took 2 steps forward and helped the Grand Elder up. In private, I can be your elder, but as a member of the 100 races of the celestial realm, everyone has to respect the human sovereign. The Grand Elder insisted on saluting and then stood up straight. Everyone please rise. Night Sorrow is young and doesn't deserve your courtesy. Night Sorrow returned the salute. You deserve it. The energy body of Tran Hung, the mayor of the celestial realm, appeared. I have other things to deal with, so I'm not in the celestial realm. It's a pity that we're not in the celestial realm. In the future, you can make all the decisions in the war against the Demon Wing clan. I believe in you and in every race of the celestial realm. We can overcome the difficulties. After saying a few words, Tran Hung's energy body left. Night Sorrow knew that Tran Hung was busy with other matters. There were still some extraterrestrial forces that needed to be dealt with, so Night Sorrow didn't know what was going on. After that, the Grand Elder brought Night Sorrow, a group of law enforcement elders, and the Council of Elders of the mythological beast clan into his pocket dimension. Now is a special time. The mayor is dealing with some extraterrestrial forces, but the situation is not optimistic. Everyone wants to get a share of the pie and gain some benefits when the new and old supreme worlds are replaced. King Wu is in seclusion again to make a breakthrough. Therefore, the celestial realm is in a period of weakness. We have to get through this period. Night Sorrow, you have to work hard. The Grand Elder looked at Night Sorrow. Grand Elder, you are too polite. I will fight according to the arrangements of the Council of Elders, Night Sorrow said. Ah, this is something you don't know. I've talked to the City Lord, King Wu, and everyone else here. I've also announced how to deal with your situation. You're now the law enforcement elder of the Council of Elders. You're also the successor to the City Lord of the godly capital and heavenly desolate city. You can decide how you want to fight in the future. The Great Elder smiled at Yishan. This is not appropriate. I am young and inexperienced. Don't cause trouble because of dissatisfaction, Night Sorrow said. He didn't care about these things. It is not inappropriate. Just accept it. At the very least, no one can mess around with you. Some unfair things can happen to anyone but not you, Emperor Tang said. Hearing Tang Zong's words, Xiao Jun stood up. Law Enforcement Elder Yi, you're magnanimous and magnanimous. You won't argue with Xiao Jun, but Xiao Jun still wants to apologize. However, Xiao Jun also hopes that Law Enforcement Elder Yi can rest assured. Xiao Jun has always been thinking about the overall situation of the Heaven Realm. We already talked about this last time. Elder Xiao, please don't think too much about it. I was exiled once and I was indeed angry at that time. However, this was also part of my growth. That time I received Master Wushuang's inheritance. After that, Martial Uncle took great care of me. I should be the one thanking Elder Xiao, Yishang said with a smile. Since you said so, I feel much better. The knot in my heart has been completely untied. I will treat you to a drink later. Xiao Jun saluted Night Sorrow. Ah, I have to accept this. Let's have a drink together later. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow, I have already informed everyone that you are the law enforcement elder. Your orders are valid in the Council of Elders and in the Heaven Wasteland Army. You can make the decision on the deployment of the Heaven Wasteland Army. The Grand Elder went straight to the point and spoke of his purpose of looking for Night Sorrow. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. Then Night Sorrow and the others left the Grand Elder's small space world. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow went to the encampment of the Heaven Wasteland Army and found the commander. The 8th commander of the Heaven Wasteland Army, Lu Chang, pays his respects to law enforcement Elder Knight. The commander of the Heaven Wasteland Army bowed to Night Sorrow. How about this? You take your men and report to Samsara Island. You can communicate with the other forces. You can practice Samsara Island's tactical formations and combat skills, Night Sorrow said. Patriarch Knight, does that mean our 8th alliance will belong to Samsara Island from now on? Lu Chang's eyes lit up. Yes, go. Go report to Nan Yong. You are all commanders, but Nan Yong and the others are more familiar with Samsara Island. Show them some respect. Night Sorrow nodded. Don't worry, Patriarchy. Lu Chang will take care of this. Lu Chang was very excited. Initial E% Hair Samsara Island was now one of the signboards of the 100 Races Alliance and was a very powerful force. The members of the Heaven Wasteland Army were very envious because the Heaven Wasteland Army, which used to be the same as them, was no longer on the same level as them. Also, inform the 1st Army and the Deicide Squad to report to Tianhuang City, Night Sorrow said to Lu Chang. After making the necessary arrangements, Night Sorrow arrived at the gate of Nirvana City. Sister Shen'er, are they here yet? How can they be so fast? They're scared of you. Lin Piaomiao said with a smile. I'll ask the 1st Army and the Deicide Squad to come back. From now on, they'll stay here and watch the next battle and learn from it, Night Sorrow said. Lin Piaomiao, Yang Lei Aoi and the others all nodded. That's good. We still have to fight. We can't delay our cultivation. Night Sorrow said and landed on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge in a flash. After arriving at a suitable place, he stayed behind to cultivate while his doppelganger met up with Lin Chuan and Long Jin. Captain, what's the situation? Will the Patriarch be unhappy with us fighting like this? Long Jin asked when he saw Night Sorrow return. Chapter 2095. High Position. Captain, what's your position in Tianhuang City? Long Jin asked in surprise. The Grand Elder has arranged a position for me as an elder of the law enforcement clan. However, you have to behave yourselves. The rules of Tianhuang City are rules. If you break them you will be punished, Night Sorrow said. An elder of the law enforcement clan? That's impressive. That's definitely a high position in the 100 Races Alliance. Lin Chuan was also surprised. Also, the Lord of Tianhuang City has decided to make Night Sorrow the young Lord of Tianhuang City. That's impressive. In the Celestial Realm, even an elder of the law enforcement clan has to take orders from Night Sorrow, the Grand Elder said with a smile. Long Jin, bring some wine. When should we celebrate? Lin Chuan waved his hand at Long Jin. Long Jin smiled and took out a few jars of wine. Not only did he give some to Lin Chuan, but he also gave some to the Grand Elder and Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow has been promoted. Why are you so excited? The Grand Elder asked with a smile. Look at the first chapter of the book. Grand Elder, you don't know. We're not afraid of fighting, but we're afraid of encountering an insensible commander. If we're led into a ditch, then we'll suffer in silence. In the past, Grand Elder Lin and the Great Demon King suffered such a loss. However, the captain is an elder of the law enforcement clan. That won't happen. The captain is an expert in commanding battles. We don't have to worry about that. If we die in a real battle, we won't feel aggrieved. Grand Elder, you can understand that, right? Long Jin said with a smile. Indeed. You should be at ease with the current situation. The Council of Elders is also at ease with you. Although you're young and impetuous, everyone in Samsara Island is reliable. This is recognized by everyone. You have to work hard too. You can't be an emperor, the Grand Elder said to Long Jin. Grand Elder, I haven't cultivated for long. Other than the captain, no one in the celestial realm can compare to me, Long Jin said. Don't be satisfied with your current situation. You must have the mindset to improve yourself. There is no end to cultivation. Hard work will eventually pay off, the Grand Elder said with a chuckle. His main body was cultivating on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge while Night Sorrow's doppelganger wielded the blood-Qilin evil-slaying spear to guard the bridge. What followed was a month of peace. During this month, the demon-winged race did not make any moves. Emojantian did not send out any more troops. He knew in his heart that at this time, the momentum of the 100 races in the celestial realm was at its peak. He wanted to lie low for a while before fighting again. Furthermore, he still had some backup plans that were not in place yet. Since the Demon Wing clan's current tribulation of one sovereign cultivators couldn't take down Night Sorrow, Emojantian contacted the extraterritorial world that had formed an alliance with the Demon Wing clan, asking for reinforcements from the extraterritorial world. There were many extraterrestrial worlds, but they couldn't be compared to the 100 races of the celestial realm and the demon-winged race of Heaven Wasteland because they didn't have many members. Although there weren't many of them, there were many experts among them. They were all races with long inheritances, and even Mo Zhantian acknowledged their battle prowess. Currently, they had reached an agreement with the demon-winged race of Heaven Wasteland to occupy the celestial realm. After occupying the new supreme world, there were more than a dozen extraterritorial worlds that were autonomous. Mo Zhantian had already contacted them. In addition, in Heaven Wasteland, the most famous tribulation of Emperor Cultivator had already entered the tribulation of Emperor level. However, he had yet to come out of seclusion, so Mo Zhantian was waiting. Mo Zhantian was waiting, and so was Night Sorrow. He could afford to wait. His cultivation was going smoothly, and his own momentum had already taken shape. The Emperor realm cultivated the momentum of heaven and earth, borrowing the momentum of heaven and earth to cultivate a domain. A domain was the symbol of an emperor. Tribulation of Emperor cultivators strengthened their domain. Their own domain was not only formed by borrowing the momentum of heaven and earth, but also integrated with their own momentum. How many tribulation of Emperor cultivators were determined by how many tribulation of Emperor cultivators were involved. 10% was equivalent to 1 tribulation of Emperor level, and 20% was equivalent to 2 tribulation of Emperor. The cultivation of one's own momentum was not easy. Wanting to integrate one's own momentum into heaven and earth was not easy. Before the tribulation of Emperor, cultivators comprehended the momentum of heaven and earth, following the heavenly Tao. Tribulation of Emperor cultivators cultivated their own momentum, integrating it into heaven and earth, which was rejected by the heavenly Tao. It could be said that they were going against the heavens. The difficulty of cultivation was completely different from before. After all, it involved the Tao. Every cultivator had their own cultivation philosophy. When one reached the tribulation of Emperor level, they would form their own Tao. Night Sorrow was currently focusing on the reincarnation Tao. It was extremely difficult to integrate the reincarnation Tao into heaven and earth, forming a domain that he could completely control. The cultivation of one's own momentum was going against the heavens. Night Sorrow also cultivated the reincarnation Tao, which was a combination of attributes, which made it even more difficult. The area where Night Sorrow's main body was located was where his soul power had once integrated into, so it was very easy to cultivate. However, it was also extremely difficult to raise his cultivation level. Fortunately, Night Sorrow was the virtuous sovereign emperor. The heavenly Tao's rejection was weak, so he could cultivate quickly. However, what made Night Sorrow a little conflicted was whether to activate the beginning attribute now or not. If he activated it and cultivated it, then he could improve together with the reincarnation Tao. Otherwise, he would have to go back and cultivate it in the future, which would be a waste of time. If he started cultivating the beginning attribute now, Night Sorrow was worried that it would cause some problems. Unable to make a decision, and King Yawu was in seclusion, Night Sorrow's clone communicated with the Grand Elder. The Grand Elder was clear about Night Sorrow's attributes. In the end, the Grand Elder's opinion was that they could give it a try. After the Grand Elder made this decision, he explained the reason to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's situation was different from others. With the forbidden attribute, the Emperor Tribulation that he initiated didn't count. The next epoch would definitely be the God-destroying tribulation. Therefore, during this period, Night Sorrow didn't have to worry too much about cultivating. After receiving the Grand Elder's opinion, Night Sorrow's main body began to combine the forbidden attribute, beginning attribute. With the void, space-time and infinity attributes, Night Sorrow didn't have any difficulty fusing the beginning attribute. He completed the combination in 3 days. After the combination, it was at the peak of the intermediate level. The level of the forbidden attribute was determined by the lowest attribute achievement in the combination of attributes. Night Sorrow's infinity attribute was stuck at the Sovereign Emperor realm bottleneck. He had no choice. His main body cultivated his own force. When Night Sorrow's clone wasn't fighting, he cultivated the Infinity Spear art. Now, other than the infinity attribute, he didn't need to cultivate the other attributes of heaven and earth. The first army and the god-slaying team had all arrived at Tianhuang City. After learning about Night Sorrow's battle results and situation, they were very anxious. They hoped to fight together with Night Sorrow. Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiyun had also arrived. Their strength had increased rapidly. Jun Xuanji in particular had rejected the negative effects of Mo Tianji's memories. However, he had absorbed all the cultivation insights. He had improved without any bottlenecks. In a short time he had already reached the Sovereign Emperor realm. In addition, the higher-ups of the Humanitarian League had also arrived. This was because the Nirvana City Gate was now guarded by the Humanitarian League. Chapter 2096. Peng Wanli and Kei Wu had both entered the Imperial Emperor realm. Although they were only early-stage Imperial Emperors, they were considered mid-tier. When the Great Elder who was patrolling the city gate saw Wu Feng, he nodded seriously. Very good. How is Ancestor Feng? Grand Elder, I don't understand what you're saying. You might have mistaken me for someone else. Wu Feng cupped his hands and bowed to the Grand Elder. Ah, I can recognize the wind origin force of the Feng family. You don't have to hide it. The 100 races of the Celestial Realm and the Wind Realm have been allies for many years. The Grand Elder smiled. Grand Elder, you've misunderstood. I'm not trying to hide anything. I know I'm from the Wind Realm, but other than my father, I don't have any interaction with the Wind Realm. There are many reasons. Wu Feng explained. No interaction? It seems there are some things. Don't worry, come find me later. I know one of your ancestors and we have a good relationship. I'll see if I can help you solve some problems. The Grand Elder nodded to Wu Feng and left. He just walked around Tianhuang City. It was a habit. Wu Feng, your family might be from another realm, an ally of the 100 races of the Celestial Realm, Lin Piaomiao said. She knew about the Wind Realm and came to this conclusion from the Grand Elder's words. In the past, I had cold poison in my body, so some things weren't obvious. After Night Sorrow dealt with the cold poison, there was a strange energy in my body. I don't know what it is, but it should be the wind origin force that the Grand Elder talked about. Wu Feng nodded. Sister Xian Wu Feng and I sneaked into the Ninein clan's base once, but we found that everything had changed. That area was different from before. Even the drowning pond that left a deep impression in Wu Feng's mind was gone. Song Ning explained some details. She and Wu Feng investigated carefully, but they couldn't find any clues. In the end, the clairvoyant divined that some time ago, the energy in the Ninein clan's territory changed, and everything disappeared. Looks like things aren't as simple as they seem. Later on, I'll check the records and see if there are any clues. Lin Piaomiao nodded at Wu Feng. Sister Xian, the Grand Elder sent Wu Feng over. Let's ask the Grand Elder. The Grand Elder should know about the Celestial Realm, Song Ning said. In the evening, Lin Piaomiao brought Wu Feng and Song Ning to see the Grand Elder and told him about Wu Feng's situation. The Wind Realm and the Ninein clan are forces that ordinary people don't know about. They're both foreign worlds. The difference for the Celestial Realm is that one is an ally, while the other is an enemy. The Wind Realm is an ally of the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. They're willing to fight with us against the demon wings of Heaven Wasteland. The Ninein world is different. They're not willing. They want to take advantage of the situation. When the City Lord gave them a choice, their main force in the Celestial Realm, the Ninein clan, chose to run away and left the Celestial Realm, the Grand Elder said. Grand Elder, with Wu Feng's cultivation, he can't return to his family. As for the Ninein clan, I don't want to talk about the grudge between us anymore. However, my father was beaten into the drowning pond. As a son, there are some things I must do, Wu Feng said. You're right. Later I'll contact the Wind Realm. The Feng family doesn't have many people. They'll be happy to know of your existence. The Grand Elder nodded at Wu Feng. Lin Piaomiao brought Wu Feng and Song Ning out of the Grand Elder's small world. Wu Feng, things are clear now. However, you have to know that if the Ninein clan fights against the 100 races of the Celestial Realm, you'll have to make a choice, Lin Piaomiao said. Don't worry, Battle Emperor. I know what's right and wrong. Wu Feng nodded. It's been so many years. You still don't want to change the way you address me. Suit yourself. Lin Piaomiao shook her head. When Wu Feng and Song Ning got married, Lin Piaomiao told Wu Feng that she and Song Ning were sisters. He could call her sister in the future, but Wu Feng still called her Battle Emperor. Sister Xian, my mighty brother-in-law has been staying on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge all this time? Doesn't he know to come back and rest? He's still a little slow. Song Ning looked at Night Sorrow's figure on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Don't make up stories. Be careful that Night Sorrow's brothers don't strangle you. He's cultivating now. Lin Piaomiao smiled. She was happy that Song Ning was by her side. Other than the Yi clan, Song Ning was her only relative. Where's Xiaoke? That little guy used to pay his respects to me. Now he's gone. Song Ning said. Lin Piaomiao's child was her most important relative. He's in the 9-domain world. He's cultivating in Night Sorrow's old cultivation area. Lin Piaomiao said. Song Ning was stunned for a moment before he asked, Are you sure you're not mistaken, Sister Xian? His cultivation base has risen too quickly. Although his bloodline and talent are good, it's not a good thing for his cultivation base to rise too quickly. What Yi Shang and I think is that he needs to suppress it and stabilize his cultivation base. Lin Piaomiao shook her head. On the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Night Sorrow's original body was sitting at the top of the Clear Sky Pagoda. He was cultivating his own force in the time acceleration. Actually, this force was also called Dao. Why was Mo Tianji's original body so powerful and hard to damage? Because her cultivation level was high and her body was filled with Dao. Forever. Exempt. Fei looks at little E says the signature of an Emperor Realm cultivator was the domain. The signature of an Emperor Realm cultivator was the Dao domain. It was a domain that merged with one's own Dao. Night Sorrow's current cultivation was in two directions. One was the reincarnation Dao domain, and the other was the primordial Dao domain. Everything was going smoothly. However, Night Sorrow knew that it wasn't that easy to raise his cultivation level. Even if he felt it, even if there was no bottleneck, he still needed time to reach the second Emperor Realm. The Heavenly Dao determined that there would only be one Emperor Tribulation every 100 billion years. This showed how difficult it was for an Emperor Tribulation cultivator to raise his cultivation level. Night Sorrow's clone, Lin Chuan, and Long Jin stayed in the area isolated from the Nirvana storm by the Array Formation. They were drinking wine. Because of the Nirvana storm, only emperors could survive on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Night Sorrow and the others decided to block the Demon-Winged clan. In order to be more comfortable, Night Sorrow set up an array formation to isolate the Nirvana storm. This way the three of them would be more comfortable. Actually, it wasn't just the three of them. After the array formation was set up, they stayed behind a little. The Grand Elder and Lu Qi's clone, who were worried about Night Sorrow, also entered the array formation. The Grand Elder told Night Sorrow about Wufeng's arrival and what happened to him. Big Brother Wufeng no longer has any feelings for the Ninein clan. Even a vicious tiger would not eat its own cubs. When Wufeng's mother attacked, she destroyed the most precious mother-son relationship in the world, Yi Shan whispered. He felt sorrow for Wufeng. Chapter 2097. So you're saying that the Wind Realm will help Brother Wufeng? Night Sorrow asked. The Wind Realm's Feng family doesn't have many people. In fact, they're pitifully few. There might not even be 20 true core members, but these 20 people are all experts because they have the wind origin power bestowed upon them by the Heavenly Dao. Wufeng has the wind origin power, which is the mark of a core member of the Wind Realm's Feng family. If he's a core member, then his father is naturally one too. The Ninein tribe tricked their core member, so how can this matter be resolved so easily? Whose child isn't a child? The Grand Elder said. Then what's the situation with the Ninein tribe? Are they also very powerful? Lin Chuan asked. The Ninein tribe in the Celestial Realm used to be a gateway to the Celestial Realm. It's a gateway for the members of the Ninein tribe to train and understand the Celestial Realm. You can't use the Ninein tribe to measure the strength of the Ninein tribe, the Grand Elder explained. This kind of extraterrestrial force is very difficult to deal with. Night Sorrow shook his head. In a war, the ones who decide the outcome are the top cultivators. Right now, only the Celestial Realm's 100 Races Alliance and the Devil Wing race of Wasteland have top cultivators. Even if extraterrestrial forces like the Ninein tribe are strong, they don't have a backbone, so they have to rely on them, the Grand Elder said with a smile. Then why don't they rely on the Celestial Realm's 100 Races Alliance? Why do they have to go against us and become the Devil Wing race's lackeys? I'm really puzzled, Long Jin muttered. Then the Grand Elder gave an answer. All along, the Celestial Realm had been ruled by the 100 Races Alliance. Some extraterrestrial forces couldn't obtain much benefits from negotiating with the Celestial Realm's 100 races. However, they could negotiate with the Devil Wing race of Wasteland. The Devil Wing race was able to make promises in the midst of benefits that didn't belong to them. This was the fundamental difference. Some of the outer realms with great wolf-like natures were willing to fight alongside the Devil-Winged clan in order to obtain greater benefits. After listening to the Grand Elder's answer, Night Sorrow's trio understood that this was a choice. It was a choice between risk and benefit. The Celestial Realm is the world of the 100 Races Alliance. It's not that other forces can't develop, but they can't do it without a bottom line. If you insist on giving them a large portion of the territory and then we can't ask about it, that in itself is a hidden danger. That's why we aren't willing. In the future, it will be even more impossible for them to become nobles in the 9 domains world. Lu Qi said. It's like if someone comes to our house and insists on giving them a living room or a bedroom. If their table manners are too unsightly, we'll start fighting, Longjin said. I like your aura the most. Cultivators should be like this. If you're not convinced, then fight. Fight until you're convinced. The 100 Races Alliance of the Celestial Realm is determined to do so, Lu Qi said. Night Sorrow, there's still an era left. Many things will happen in this era, but one thing is of the utmost importance, and that is the safety of the Nine Domains world. After this cycle ends, the deserted world will be destroyed, and the Celestial Realm will become a sub-supreme world. At that time, the Nine Domains world will be the core of the human race and the 100 Races Alliance. If you don't object, we should do some appropriate migration because the cultivation conditions in the Celestial Realm will be much worse, the Grand Elder said. Hearing the Grand Elder's words, Night Sorrow fell into deep thought. This was a huge problem, one that concerned the future of the Nine Domains world. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow looked up at the Grand Elder. Grand Elder, since we're on this topic, there are some things I have to say first because I have some concerns. Okay, go ahead. The Grand Elder nodded. The Nine Domains world used to be very stable because I wanted to fight for the world. I wanted to fight, so the Nine Domains world suffered a lot that shouldn't have. There were even outsiders. I have to be responsible for the Nine Domains world. In the future, migration is possible, but first they have to abide by the rules of the Nine Domains world. Also, those with higher cultivation than me can't enter. Even if you think I'm selfish, I can't do anything about it. Night Sorrow said. He didn't think it was appropriate to talk like this, but for the native creatures of the Nine Domains world, Night Sorrow had to say it. Don't worry, you have the final say. No one will use force against you and no one has the qualifications to do so. Also, there will be people who think you're selfish, but that's from a narrow point of view. People who look at the bigger picture will understand that this is the most effective way to control the stability of the Nine Domains world. I hope that the future sovereign world will be stable, and all unstable factors must be eliminated. The Grand Elder said with a smile. You're the Realm Lord, and those with lower cultivation than you can't cause any waves in the Nine Domains world. Therefore, we won't allow those with higher cultivation than you to enter. This is the most effective way to control the stability of the Nine Domains world. We will all support your decision. Of course, you have to cultivate quickly. Otherwise, when will we be able to enter? Lu Qi said with a smile. Seventh Elder, there are some things you don't understand. Night Sorrow shook his head. You're still talking about me. Tell me what I don't understand. Lu Qi smiled and looked at Night Sorrow. These things will come to a conclusion after an epoch. At that time I'll still be alive. That means I'll have passed the God-destroying tribulation. After passing the God-destroying tribulation, who will I be afraid of? Whoever wants to enter can enter. On the other hand, I can't care about what happens after an epoch. My family still needs Seventh Elder and Grand Elder to look after. Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, everyone fell silent. Lu Qi had indeed forgotten this point. Night Sorrow only had one epoch's time. You're all silent? You don't believe me? Night Sorrow said. We believe you. The Grand Elder and Lu Qi looked at Night Sorrow and nodded. I also believe in myself. Night Sorrow smiled. Night Sorrow, don't laugh. I'm not being perfunctory. I really believe in you. You're different from the masters who have been born in countless reincarnations. You're fundamentally different. Let me tell you the reasons why I believe in you. First, in the past celestial realm, it was very difficult for taboo attributes to appear. Even if it did, it was only a single attribute. No one was like you, having two taboo attributes at the same time. Second, in the past, there were no cultivators who had achieved success in both physical and spiritual cultivation. Even if there were, it had nothing to do with taboo attributes in the body of merit. Third, and most important, you belong to the new supreme world. You're the first human sovereign of the new supreme world. You have the luck of the rising sun in your body. At the same time, you've also gained the recognition of the origin of the celestial realm. You've risen with the luck of two supreme worlds. This is unstoppable. Tell me, do I have a reason to believe in you? The Grand Elder said. He was cheering for Night Sorrow and giving Night Sorrow more reasons to believe in himself. Forever you free L. Look at little K say 7Y. Chapter 2098. It seems like there are still many reasons for me to believe in myself. Then I'll just have to work hard. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He knew that the Grand Elder and the 7 clan elders were saying these words to support and encourage him. Also, I would like to correct your point of view. Don't think that you brought anything bad to the 9-domain world. Without you, there wouldn't be the 9-domain world today. You didn't do anything wrong to anyone, nor do you owe anyone anything. Is the 9-domain world not good now? You brought them a brand new world. The other 9-domain worlds will be promoted to the Supreme Domain world and merge with the cultivators of the 100 races. Don't tell me that they don't work hard and live in mediocrity, looking up to giants? The Grand Elder said. Thank you, Grand Elder, for clearing my doubts. Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow nodded. As a person, you will never be able to satisfy everyone's wishes and needs. It's enough to satisfy the majority. There's nothing perfect in this world. Don't give yourself more burdens. We feel uncomfortable just looking at you. Lu Qi said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that the Grand Elder and Lu Qi had experienced many things and were wise. Mo Zhantian didn't bring anyone over, but he didn't leave either. He found a stronghold in the Tianhuang Mountains and stationed his people there. Normally he wouldn't do this because he would be easily attacked. However, he dared to do so now because the celestial realm wouldn't easily start a war. Without a war, Night Sorrow cultivated in peace. His doppelganger still focused on cultivating the limitless spear arts. He wanted to increase his proficiency in the limitless spear arts. Night Sorrow's main body would get up every once in a while to cultivate the limitless spear arts, drawing the limitless energy into his body. While cultivating the precept domain, he also tried to increase the limitless attribute of the heavenly Tao. 2 months later, the demon-winged clan came again under Mo Zhantian's lead. However, there were still no Emperor Tribulation cultivators. You're here to die again. Life and death, life and death. Can't you tell? Lin Chuan stood up and sighed. At that moment, Night Sorrow, who was wielding the Blood Kirin evil-slaying spear, trembled. At the same time, his main body, which was cultivating the limitless attribute, was also shaken. The limitless attribute that he cultivated lacked a sense of continuity. Life and death itself was a cycle, a process that repeated itself over and over again. It was the process of reincarnation between life and death. Enlightenment. A moment was enough. Night Sorrow's main body's understanding of the limitless attribute's power of heaven and earth increased by a fraction. This fraction was like a needle that directly pierced through the bottleneck of Night Sorrow's limitless attribute. Next, Night Sorrow's aura changed. His aura spread out a few times before returning to his body. While Lin Chuan's true self stabilized his realm, Night Sorrow's avatar laughed. Lin Chuan, thank you. Your words enlighten me. You and Long Jin should hurry up and deal with them, then drink to celebrate. Grand Commander, what's going on? Your aura hasn't changed and you haven't broken through. Lin Chuan didn't take Mo Zhantian and the Devil-Winged Clan's people seriously. He was still conversing with Night Sorrow. My realm hasn't broken through, but the effect of your words is more useful than breaking through a few realms. I'll tell you later. Night Sorrow was extremely happy. The bottleneck of the limitless attribute was too difficult to break through. In the past few days he didn't have a clue at all. He even doubted if he could break through. Now this puzzle was solved. To Night Sorrow, the breakthrough of the limitless attribute was an increase in the level and quality of his taboo attribute, breaking through from intermediate to advanced. After hearing Yishang's words, the Great Elder understood. He knew that Yishang's situation was even more important than breaking through to the next realm, and that was to raise the level of his forbidden attribute. Come. Our Grand Commander is in a good mood today, so I'll kill a few cats and dogs to liven things up. Lin Chuan held the battle blade in his right hand and hooked his pinky finger at Mo Zhantian and the others. Too cheap, but I like it. Long Jin smiled at Lin Chuan. The battle started and Lin Chuan showed his prowess again. Even if he understood him, it was useless. Knowing and being able to break through were two different things. After killing a Devil-Winged Clan's Emperor Tribulation cultivator, Lin Chuan retreated when another Devil-Winged Clan member rushed out. I'm not afraid of you. Our Grand Commander said that we'll only deal with you in the morning. If you have the ability, don't be a coward. I'll deal with you in the afternoon. Lin Chuan kept his battle blade and took a few steps back with a cheap smile on his face. The Devil-Winged Clan's Emperor Tribulation cultivator was so angry that his eyes were burning. However, Lin Chuan didn't care about him anymore. If he doesn't want to play, I'll play with you. But it's still a battle. Who wants to die first? Choose first. Long Jin waved his wave blade and hooked his pinky finger like Lin Chuan. There was no suspense in the battle. The half-dragon Long Jin brandished the tsunami saber, sending out endless saber moves, directly killing his opponent. Friends, the battle in the morning is over. Lin Chuan, go carve your name on the battle plate. Long Jin waved his wave blade and shouted at Lin Chuan. All right. Lin Chuan responded and began to carve the words. Did you see that? Killing the enemy while talking and laughing. You have to learn something. Emperor Tang arrived at the city gate and said to the cultivators of Heaven Wasteland City who were watching, "They're too strong. It would be great if we could join the Samsara Island," a captain of the Heaven Wasteland Army said. "Don't find excuses for your lack of effort and failure. The Heaven Wasteland Army of Samsara Island has the same starting point as you. It's just that they work harder." Xiao Jun glared at the captain of the Heaven Wasteland Army. Original T, Chapter U, Part 1 Inch Law Enforcing Elder Xiao, the Samsara Island has joint attacks and someone to teach them. We can't do that. The captain of the Heaven Wasteland Army retorted in a low voice. That's the truth. Let's talk about it later. Those secret techniques belong to the commander of the Samsara Island. Xiao Jun agreed with the captain of the Heaven Wasteland Army. It's different in terms of resources. Night Sorrow and the others can accumulate resources. Other than the Saint Spirit Stones obtained from the Samsara Island, the Samsara Island also has the Saint Spirit Stones provided by him. Now, the members of the Demon Wing clan don't wear storage rings when they fight. However, they were robbed of many resources some time ago. Night Sorrow isn't stingy, so the cultivation resources of the Samsara Island are saturated, Emperor Tang said. What does this mean? It means that they are ruthless and can eat meat. Those who are not ruthless and incapable can't even drink soup, Xiao Jun said. At this moment, on the city gate of Heaven Wasteland City, Lin Piaomiao was explaining the key points of the two battles to Xiaogu. Xiaogu, watch carefully. You'll be fighting later. Right now, we're lacking an invincible emperor, Lin Chuan said. I understand. I'll fight later. If you guys can do it, there's no reason why I can't. Xiaogu nodded and was filled with fighting spirit. Chapter 2099. Emo Zhantian was truly angry. He could endure it if he couldn't deal with Night Sorrow. However, the Emperor Tribulation and Emperor Realm experts kept sending themselves to their deaths. Not to mention the losses, it was very embarrassing. The members of the Devil-Winged race were very angry. They couldn't fight, so their auras were suppressed. On the other hand, Night Sorrow and the others were in high spirits. The main reason was that Night Sorrow was very happy because he had made great progress in his cultivation. Don't be a coward. Come out and fight if you have the ability. A Devil-Winged race's Emperor Tribulation cultivator roared at Night Sorrow and the others. What are you shouting for? What are you shouting for? Don't bare your fangs and brandish your claws. I've always been here. Where are your people? Come and fight. Night Sorrow snorted at the Devil-Winged race's shouts. Night Sorrow's words silenced the Devil-Winged race's shouts. He had hit them where it hurt. None of the Emperor Tribulation cultivators in the Devil-Winged race's camp could challenge Night Sorrow. Even Emo Zhantian admitted this point. They couldn't avoid it even if they wanted to. Why aren't you shouting? Can't you shout? F***CK, all of you shut up. Lin Chuan pointed at the Devil-Winged race's camp. Seeing Lin Chuan's gesture, the Devil-Winged race's members all unsheathed their battle blades. However, they were stopped by Emo Zhantian. If a group battle broke out, none of them would be able to return. At this moment, a loud roar came from the Tianhuang city's gate tower. This is so satisfying. Brother-in-law is so domineering. Song Ning said excitedly. Comfortable. This is how wars should be fought. This is how problems can be solved in comfort. Heavenly Astral Monarch, who was also watching from the city gate tower, said to the Grand Elder who was walking over. Strange. Normally the Devil-Winged race wouldn't do this. Could it be that they have a backup plan? The Grand Elder found a seat on the city gate tower and sat down. That shouldn't be the case. Currently they can't break through this situation. Night Sorrow is their obstacle, Huang Ling said. The Grand Elder nodded. They don't want Night Sorrow to fight. Actually, I don't want that either. If Night Sorrow can rise steadily, there's no need to fight like this. It's too much of a risk. During the first battle, the opponent used a self-destruct tactic. That means that they want to take down Night Sorrow at all costs. They know how important Night Sorrow is. The Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling nodded. In the past, they did not understand Night Sorrow's situation. Now that they understood, they naturally understood the importance of Night Sorrow to the celestial realm. Right now, our morale is high. If we can fight, we'll persevere. If we can't and there's danger, we'll let those brats come back. We've profited. We can retreat at any time. Whether we fight or retreat, it's up to us, the Golden Dragon King, who had been sitting on the city gate tower, said. In the evening there were 2 more battles. However, these 2 battles were very difficult. Lin Chuan and Long Jin were both injured. The 2 Devil-Winged race members were extremely strong. Lin Chuan and Long Jin had won a Pyrrhic victory. Lin Chuan had been seriously injured by the other party's self-destruction. Long Jin's opponent was the same. He was good at soul attacks. When the soul attack affected Long Jin, he also self-destructed, making Long Jin dizzy. Long Jin's left arm was blown away. It was later picked up and reattached, but the injury was very serious. Listen up. We won't play tomorrow's challenges at other levels. Let's rest for a few days. I Night Sorrow will stand here. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Glancing at Lin Chuan and Long Jin, Night Sorrow told the devil-winged race about tomorrow's situation. As timid as a mouse. Mo Lu of the devil-winged race scolded. Mo Lu had just passed by and he had sent a group of combatants. Shut up. If you're not as timid as a mouse, then what about your first Emperor Tribulation cultivators? I'll also accept the second Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Do you dare to play? If you don't dare to play, then don't waste time. Night Sorrow replied. He felt that the devil-winged race was very shameless. There were some things that both sides didn't want to talk about, but they just had to take advantage of the situation. Mo Zhantian left with the devil-winged race. Lin Chuan and Long Jin didn't want to play, and Night Sorrow couldn't take them down. So they could only retreat. After the devil-winged race left, Night Sorrow's energy burst out and wrapped Lin Chuan and Long Jin up, returning to the top of the city gate of Tianhuang City. From tomorrow onwards, the two of you won't fight. Night Sorrow said to Lin Chuan and Long Jin. Leader, we're injured, but we can still fight after we recover. Long Jin said. Lin Chuan was also very anxious. Can't you see that the last two people they sent out are problematic? They've been specially strengthened and are very effective against you. If you continue to fight, you won't have a good time. Execute the order. Night Sorrow glared at Lin Chuan and Long Jin. Lin Chuan and Long Jin didn't say anything. They wanted to fight, but they had to execute Night Sorrow's order. Lin Chuan, Long Jin, you have to listen to Night Sorrow. In terms of strength and eyesight, you're much weaker than Night Sorrow. The last two people they sent out have been specially strengthened to counter you. Their purpose is to fight the two of you. The Grand Elder said. Then Xiaogu stood out and expressed his intention to fight. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao because he didn't know Xiaogu's current strength. Noticing Night Sorrow's gaze, Lin Piaomiao nodded. Currently, Xiaogu was an expert in the Imperial Emperor realm. Okay. Then Xiaogu, come with me. We'll play with them for a while and let them know that no matter what level they're at, the 100 races of the Celestial Realm can do it. Night Sorrow didn't reject Xiaogu's request to fight. He trusted Xiaogu because he had a good foundation. After arranging things, Night Sorrow didn't leave immediately. He stood on top of the city gate and chatted with everyone. Night Sorrow confirmed that the Golden Dragon King's clone wasn't on Reincarnation Island. He didn't want Reincarnation Island to be destroyed after he left. The Golden Dragon King gave him an affirmative answer. Then Night Sorrow asked about Mo Tianji's situation. Hearing Night Sorrow's question, the Grand Elder and Lin Piaomiao shook their heads because there was no news yet. Captain, you can release my soul seal later. I can sense where she is, Jun Xuanji, who was with the members of the God-slaying team, said. No, Xuanji, your soul can't be affected. You should cultivate first. When your soul is truly stable, you can release your soul seal and fight with Mo Tianji. That's the safest way. The Grand Elder shook his head and refused. That's right. She's stronger than you, so her soul can affect you. When your level is high enough, you'll be able to affect her, the Golden Dragon King said. It's not that complicated. Mo Tianji cultivates the Heartless Tao, but I don't. I can find someone I like and marry. What can she do to me? At that time I'll be the one affecting her. We don't know who's stronger, Jun Xuanji said. Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and find someone to marry, Tianyu said. Chapter 2100. Tianyu was stunned. He didn't understand why Jun Xuanji was so angry. However, they were brothers and sisters who had fought together. Even if Jun Xuanji scolded him, he couldn't scold him back or say anything. There was an awkward silence. No one understood what was going on. Jun Xuanji took a deep breath and looked at Tianyu. Tianyu, thank you for going easy on me. I couldn't control my anger just now. I'm sorry. What are you saying? If you were in a bad mood, everyone would have gone easy on you. Tianyu shook his head. He didn't care about this at all. There was no such thing as losing face between brothers and sisters. Generous. It's my fortune to be brothers and sisters with all of you. Unlike some people, Jun Xuanji snorted as he patted Tianyu's shoulder. That one sentence and snort conveyed a lot of information. Datura and Lin Piaomiao looked at each other before turning their heads to the side. Only the Grand Elder and the 7 sect elders are on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. It's not appropriate. Everyone continue chatting. Xiaogu, let's go. Night Sorrow wrapped Xiaogu with his energy and jumped off the Nirvana City gates. Then, he flew towards the array formation that Night Sorrow had set up. Ahem. Long Jin, Lin Chuan, the two of you recuperate first. We'll celebrate later. The Grand Elder coughed dryly to resolve the awkwardness. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that something was wrong. However, they couldn't say anything unless they were involved. When they reached the array formation, Night Sorrow put Xiaogu down and wiped his forehead. There's no need to think. This matter has something to do with you, the Grand Elder's clone said. I don't really understand. Night Sorrow didn't know how to lie and didn't want to lie. Seeing Lu Qi's confusion, the Grand Elder told him what had happened. Lu Qi's clone was in Xingyue City while his original body was here. Therefore, he didn't know what had happened on the Nirvana City gates. Night Sorrow, you're attracting bees. If you bring a good woman home, countless men will silently stab you in their hearts, Lu Qi said. 7th Elder, you can't blame me for this. I've been avoiding it all this time, Night Sorrow explained helplessly. I'm just joking with you. There are some things that can't be explained clearly. Back when Elder Lin followed me to familiarize herself with the position of Discipline Elder, she was wavering between the path of emotions and the path of heartlessness. If you were that kind of person, then success would follow naturally. Would she need to waver? Therefore, I know what kind of person you are. However, this is also a sin. Lu Qi shook his head. The Grand Elder and Lu Qi didn't try to persuade him any further because Night Sorrow wasn't a child. He had a family and children, so he had his own judgment on certain matters. Alright, let me confirm. Did your limitless attribute advance? He could not ask in front of others, but now that there were no outsiders, he naturally had to confirm. When I heard Lin Chuan's words, I was somewhat moved and advanced. Now, my reincarnation and primordial attributes are both at the advanced level. Night Sorrow nodded. The Grand Elder paced back and forth twice. Night Sorrow, let's go back. We're not fighting anymore. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, Grand Elder, why would you suddenly have such a thought? Night Sorrow looked at the Grand Elder in surprise. Because you are destined to rise. Now is not the time to take on such risks. The Grand Elder gave the reason. Night Sorrow smiled. Grand Elder, don't you understand? Resistance is my path. In the past 1,000 years, other than the period when I was unconscious, I was fighting. Comfort is not my path. If you don't let a bird fly, it might forget how to fly after a long time. Grand Elder, Night Sorrow is right. Comfort is mediocrity. The strong cannot look up to others in mediocrity. Lu Qi supported Night Sorrow's decision. Looking at Night Sorrow, the Grand Elder nodded. He was worried, not that he did not understand. Then Night Sorrow asked about King Yewu's situation. He was very concerned about King Yewu. You don't have to worry about that. He is in seclusion. In the past, Mo Zhantian was not King Yewu's opponent. This time, Mo Zhantian suddenly became stronger because he took the final step. His original body and doppelganger's souls merged. King Yewu has not taken this step yet, so he is in seclusion. Once he passes this step, it will be easy to suppress him. Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian both have one doppelganger, while King Yewu has 2 doppelganger. After the original body and doppelganger merge, it is obvious who is stronger. The Grand Elder explained King Yewu's situation. Then I am relieved. Night Sorrow nodded. It is just a matter of time. It may be long or short. The Grand Elder smiled. He knew that Night Sorrow was a kind person who respected his elders. This was also a kind of virtue. Mo Zhantian did not bring anyone to battle because he could not win the battle. Lin Chuan and Long Jin were not going to battle. He wanted to win once, but he could not even replenish his aura. Mo Lu, are they not here yet? Mo Zhantian asked. They will be here soon. The Outer Realm has sent Emperor Tribulation Cultivators and Emperor Tribulation Cultivators on the way. Our 100 Kings Tribes geniuses are also coming out of seclusion. Mo Lu bowed. Mo Zhantian nodded. He was a little anxious because the situation had to be changed. With more reinforcements coming, he felt more at ease. However, he knew that since the reinforcements were here, they had to be strengthened specifically to deal with Night Sorrow and the other two. Thinking of this, Mo Zhantian was furious. He could think of ways to deal with Lin Chuan and Long Jin. He could train his subordinates to deal with them, but he could not do anything about Night Sorrow. In the battle with Night Sorrow, many Emperor Tribulation cultivators from the Demon Wings tribe had died. However, they still could not find out where Night Sorrow's weakness was. In other words, even with his Soul Unification Realm cultivation base, he could not guide his elites to deal with Night Sorrow. After thinking for a while, Mo Zhantian could not come up with a good plan. He could only wait and see. As for the elites of the Demon Wings tribe, Mo Zhantian did not see them and did not know how strong they were. Two special cultivators came to Tianhuang City. They were brought by the Grand Elder. Both of them were wearing green robes with golden edges. They were here to look for Wufeng. They were from the Feng family of the Wind Realm. When he saw Wufeng, the Elder's eyes lit up. Grand Elder. That's right. They are from our Feng family. Wufeng, they are from the Feng family of the Wind Realm. The Grand Elder said to Wufeng, "Why are you called Wufeng? You are from the Feng family. How can you be called by this name?" The middle-aged man was dissatisfied. "It's not the wind attribute. It's the Feng from the edge. My father doesn't want me to reveal my edge and bring about a fatal disaster." Wufeng explained. "Our Feng family's child can't reveal his edge?" The middle-aged man roared in anger. "Yinshao, calm down." The elder patted the middle-aged man's shoulder. Chapter 2101. Let's find a place to talk, the Grand Elder said. He knew that there were still many details to be discussed. The elder nodded. He had many things to ask Wufeng. When Wufeng brought Song Ning and the Grand Elder out of Nirvana City's gate, Feng Yunxiao turned to look at Song Ning, an energy storm spinning in his eyes. "This is my wife, Song Ning," Edgeless explained. "Wife, very good." The energy storm in Feng Yunxiao's eyes disappeared and was replaced by calmness. When they arrived at the Grand Elder's small space world, Wufeng explained his situation. He didn't reject returning to his family because it wasn't his family that had abandoned him and his father. "Second Master, the timeline matches. It should be during that great battle. My brother was injured and his soul had a problem. After that, he never returned to the family. Instead, he went to the Nine Yin tribe's territory." Feng Yunxiao looked at the elder man after hearing Wufeng's story. Wufeng is from the Feng family, that's for sure. However, there are many problems. Your brother is from the Feng family of the Wind Realm and has wind origin energy. The Nine Yin tribe should recognize him. Could it be that he didn't have wind origin energy when he arrived? Wufeng, do you remember your father's situation? The elder of the Feng family, Feng Yuexin, asked Wufeng. Wufeng thought for a moment and said, "Nothing special. Most of the time he wasn't awake. The time he was awake was very short, and he didn't have wind origin energy." Your father didn't have wind origin energy when he arrived at the Nine Yin tribe's territory. Our Feng family doesn't have many members and your father is the only missing member. Therefore your background can't be wrong. According to seniority, you are my granduncle and he is your uncle. When our Wind Realm fought against the Sea Serpent tribe, your father was injured and was swept into a spacetime storm. His whereabouts were unknown. The family found a diviner to divine his whereabouts, but there was no result. The Nine Yin tribe's territory should have a method to avoid divination, Feng Yuexin said. The Grand Elder told us about the disappearance of the Nine Yin tribe. According to his deduction, their territory should have something like a spatial treasure. However, you don't have to worry. We won't let your father go. The Nine Yin tribe doesn't have the right to be arrogant in front of our Feng family. We can afford it, but we can't let go of the grievances you've suffered. Fortunately, you've settled down and started a family. Uncle is very pleased about this, Feng Yunxiao said. Thank you, uncle. Wufeng bowed to Feng Yunxiao. You don't have to be so courteous with your uncle. You must know that you have a family. No one can bully our Feng family, Feng Yunxiao said. Wufeng, this time your uncle and I are here mainly for you. Other than that, we have to contribute to the war between the 100 Races Alliance and the Demon Winged Clan. We won't be leaving for the time being. We have a place to stay. Bring your wife and come with us. You've been wandering outside for many years. You have to learn about the people and matters of the Feng clan, as well as their cultivation techniques and absolute arts, Feng Yuxian said. Wufeng understands. Wufeng nodded. Second Master, I plan to investigate the Nine Yin clan, Feng Yunxiao said to Feng Yuxian. So many years have passed, there's no need to rush. The Nine Yin clan in the world of Nine Yin is very ambitious. They will definitely take action in this war, so there's no need to specifically look for them. Once they appear, we can use a secret method to locate their nest, Feng Yuxian said. After thinking for a while, Feng Yunxiao nodded and looked at Wufeng. Your name might not be right, but this is your father's, my elder brother's, effort. Keep it. When you have children in the future, follow the Feng family's genealogy. Thank you, uncle. Wu Feng bowed to Feng Yunxiao. Niece-in-law, I wonder how your wedding went. Once this is over and we return to the Wind World, I'll have Wu Feng hold a proper wedding for you, Feng Yunxiao said to Cao Ning. You're too polite, uncle. The wedding is just a formality. Living a good life is the most important. Also, our wedding was pretty good, Cao Ning said. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation V. Knight Sorrow learned from the Grand Elder's clone that the people from the Wu Feng family had come and that Wu Feng had returned to his family. He was happy for Wu Feng because he had experienced the feeling of not having a family and roots. He had also experienced the feeling of searching for a family and relatives. The Nining family has made a big mess. If it was an ordinary matter, it might be able to pass. But this time, not only did Wu Feng and his son suffer humiliation, they also drowned Wu Feng's father. The Feng family will definitely not let this matter rest. The Feng family of the Wind World is not to be trifled with. They are extremely united and protective, the Grand Elder said. I shouldn't comment on other people's family matters, but the Nining family has gone too far. They have no compassion at all and trampled on human relations, Night Sorrow said. The Nining family has already confirmed that they won't stand on the same side as the 100 Races Alliance. Then they will definitely collude with the demon-winged race of Heaven Wasteland. A war with them is inevitable, so the dispute is still to come. Night Sorrow, you have to remember that the war to come will be a war between races. As long as they oppose the Celestial Realm's 100 Races Alliance, there is no need to hold back, the Grand Elder reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow cultivated. Lu Qi saw that Xiaogu's weapon grade was average, so he asked the Grand Elder to help Xiaogu refine a longsword. Xiaogu and Lu Qi had a very good relationship. He cultivated Lu Qi's sword techniques and could be considered his master. It was just that there was no ceremony at the moment. While Xiaogu was cultivating, Night Sorrow's cultivation did not stop. After breaking through the bottleneck of the peerless attribute, Night Sorrow's cultivation became much easier. His main body cultivated, while his clone cultivated in the 8 Dragon Cauldron's time acceleration. The reincarnation and primordial attributes were greatly improved from intermediate to advanced, allowing Night Sorrow's combat ability to soar. After 2 months of peace, the reinforcements of the Demon-Winged clan and the elites invited by Imo-Zhantien arrived. They were all specially strengthened by Imo-Zhantien. When he felt that it was about time, Imo-Zhantien brought his people up to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge again. Now he wanted to eliminate the obstacles in the path of the Demon-Winged clan's rise at all costs. When the Demon-Winged clan arrived, Lu Qi shook the 8 Dragon Cauldron and called out Night Sorrow, who was cultivating his combat ability from within. Realm Lord, can Xiaogu fight first this time? Xiaogu asked after glancing at the Demon-Winged clan's Emperor. Yes, but you have to remember that this is a life-and-death battle. You have to kill your opponent as quickly as possible, Night Sorrow said to Xiaogu. After cupping his fists at Night Sorrow, the Grand Elder, and Lu Qi, Xiaogu held his long sword and walked to the front of the stronghold. Xiaogu of Starmoon City is here. Which Emperor will fight? Where did this trash come from? Get down. This time we are going to fight Night Sorrow. Emolu looked at Xiaogu with some annoyance. He knew that Imo-Zhantien had made some arrangements to deal with Night Sorrow. Chapter 2102. Emolu wanted to say something but was stopped by Imo-Zhantien's raised arm. Battle of the Monarchs. That's fine too. Which one of you will fight? Imo-Zhantien looked at Xiaogu and threw out a sentence. He had brought monarch-level cultivators today to observe the battle. Now they could be put to good use. Hearing Imo-Zhantien's words, the monarchs of the Demon-Wing clan stood out in unison. There were more than 10 of them. This was the valiance of a battle clan. They didn't know the situation but they weren't afraid of death. Xiaogu, kill one first. Then come back for a cup of tea before we fight. Night Sorrow instructed Xiaogu. Alright. Then I'll kill one and come back for tea. Xiaogu held his sword and moved forward again, arriving at the center of the two groups. You go. Imo-Zhantien pointed at one of the monarchs. I'll kill you. The Demon Wing clan's monarch flew out of the Demon Wing clan's camp and flew towards Xiaogu. The Demon Wing clan's monarch's domain burst forth as he held his saber with both hands. Saber energy pulsed as he slashed at Xiaogu. I don't know where you get the confidence to talk big. Xiaogu didn't move. He raised his right hand and the scabbard of his sword flew into the sky. Then he waved his sword and 3 sword chi flew out rapidly. The 3 sword chi shot out by Xiaogu were like 3 lightning bolts that streaked across the void. When they appeared again, they were already in front of the Demon Wing Clan's domain. One of the sword chi broke through the Demon Wing Clan's domain. After that, Xiaogu's remaining 2 sword chi shot towards the Demon Wing Clan's monarch through the gap. Break! The Demon Wing Clan's monarch's expression changed drastically as he roared and slashed at the sword chi with his saber. With a crisp sound, the Demon Wing Clan's monarch's saber was broken by the sword chi. The 3rd sword chi arrived and directly pierced through the Demon Wing Clan's monarch's forehead. Kill. Xiaogu killed the Demon Wing Clan's monarch with 1 move and 3 sword chi. Soaring sword energy. I didn't expect you to be Lu Qi's disciple. Very good. Mo Zhantian narrowed his eyes as he looked at Xiaogu, who was collecting the Demon Wing Clan's monarch's storage ring. Lu Qi. He knew that Xiaogu was Lu Qi's ultimate skill. Not at the moment, but if he is willing, he can become one at any time. Lu Qi smiled. He was very satisfied with Xiaogu's battle achievements. After collecting the Demon Wing Sovereign Emperor's storage ring, Xiaogu returned to Night Sorrow's side. Domain Lord Xiaogu killed him. Clean and efficient, very good. Night Sorrow patted Xiaogu's shoulder. The battle between the Imperial Emperors is over. It's Night Sorrow's turn. Do you have the guts to fight? A first Emperor Tribulation cultivator walked out from the Demon Wing Clan's camp. He was the first Sovereign Tribulation cultivator invited by the Demon Wing Clan, Han Qingyun. He had also received pointers from Mo Zhantian. I didn't want to fight, but since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Come. Night Sorrow raised his blood-chilling evil-punishing spear and walked between the 2 groups. Die. Han Qingyun's body flashed as he waved his spear and flew towards Night Sorrow. As he flew, a white spear light appeared on his spear. The spear light became more and more solid. At the same time, he also launched a soul attack. The white soul power condensed into rings and flew towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow stood still. However, he used his soul power to activate the Green Lotus Jade Bangle. An emerald-green halo rippled in all directions, blocking Han Qingyun's soul attack outside the domain. By the time Han Qingyun arrived in front of Yishang had finished releasing his spacetime Dao domain and slowed Han Qingyun down. Die. Han Qingyun's speed slowed down, but the energy in his spear was ready. He stabbed his spear towards Night Sorrow. Original 5 songs H/D Spacetime Realm. Night Sorrow used the spacetime realm and disappeared from the celestial realm. He went to a different space, causing Han Qingyun's attack to miss. After dodging Han Qingyun's attack, Night Sorrow's body flashed and appeared in the celestial realm again. He appeared beside Han Qingyun and used the reincarnation domain to suppress Han Qingyun. Within the reincarnation domain, the spacetime collapsed and the energy of life and death rotated. A destructive storm swept out. Han Qingyun's face changed. It was difficult for him to defend against Night Sorrow's domain. While Han Qingyun was resisting the suppression of Yishang's domain, Yishang's blood-chilling evil-slaying spear appeared. He used a spear technique he had learned from a great elder. The spear carried the reincarnation domain as it pierced through Han Qingyun's protective domain. It spun and poured into Han Qingyun's forehead, shattering his divine sea. After killing Han Qingyun, Night Sorrow withdrew his reincarnation domain. Everything quieted down. The only difference was that Han Qingyun had no signs of life. He hung weakly on Night Sorrow's blood-chilling evil-slaying spear. After taking Han Qingyun's storage ring and spear, Night Sorrow kicked Han Qingyun's corpse back to the camp of the Demon Wing Clan. You guys have studied my battle style for more than 10 times. I thought you guys would be able to target me. In the end, you guys didn't make any progress. Don't be so arrogant. Yiming Lu from the realm of Ninein is here to fight you. A man with a cold face stepped out. Ninein family? When he heard the words realm of Ninein, Night Sorrow's body trembled. This might be related to some of Wu Feng's grudges. Looks like you know quite a lot. Yiming Lu walked out of the camp of the Demon Wing Clan. Be careful, Ming Lu, another man reminded him. He was the young master of the realm of Ninein Yin Xiaotian. The Ninein family was the royal family of the realm of Ninein. The Ninein family in the celestial realm was just a gate for them. They ruled over everything in the realm of Ninein. After the Yin Song record walked out, Night Sorrow felt an uncomfortable aura. It was an evil aura. He had felt this aura when he was healing Wufeng. I don't care who you are. You're some *T human emperor. If you dare to block the development of the realm of Ninein, you must die. Yiming Lu looked at Night Sorrow coldly. You insulted the human emperor. You're already a dead man. No one can save you today. The Grand Elder, who was originally sitting, stood up. Imo didn't say anything, but he cursed in his heart. Yin Ming Lu insulted the human emperor, and the Grand Elder had a reason to kill him. It had nothing to do with the gentleman's battle. Imo attack was a chaotic battle. While Imo was cursing, Yin Ming Lu had already attacked. He released the Grey Realm around him and attacked Night Sorrow. He saw that Night Sorrow's realm was powerful, so he didn't enter the area of suppression of Night Sorrow's realm. He attacked from a distance and used energy to attack Night Sorrow. He planned to wait for the energy of the Nine Yin family to invade Night Sorrow's body and affect his status. Then he would attack him in close combat. This was also the strategy that Imo had taught him. After observing more than a dozen battles, Imo realized that Night Sorrow's realm was powerful. His speed and close combat ability were also very strong. That was why he told Yin Ming Lu to attack from a distance to increase Night Sorrow's status. Only then would they have a chance to win. Yin Ming Lu knew Imo identity, so even if he was very confident, he still followed Imo strategy. Besides, he had seen Night Sorrow kill Han Qingyun with his own eyes. He was already cautious. The energy of the Nine Yin family was very strong. Night Sorrow's realm of destruction couldn't block it. His body was already corroded by the energy. Chapter 2103. It was very evil and domineering. When Night Sorrow realized how difficult it was to deal with the Nine Yin energy, he immediately activated the virtuous immortal body and enveloped the evil energy. In fact, even if he did not do that, the Nine Yin energy would not be able to break his body. Night Sorrow's body had entered the Emperor Tribulation realm with the spacetime energy, and he also had the strength of the Emperor Tribulation realm. In other words, even if he stood there and let the Emperor Tribulation and the Emperor Tribulation cultivate, it would be very difficult to break his defense. It should be said that before the energy in his body was exhausted, it would not break his defense. After using the energy in his body to envelop the Nine Yin energy, Night Sorrow was not in a hurry to expel it from his body. Instead, he continued to observe Yin Song Record's strength, because he could understand the world of Nine Yin through Yin Song Record. The world of Nine Yin was destined to become enemies with the 100 races of the celestial realm in the future. The battle continued. Night Sorrow moved his feet and dodged Yin Song Record's continuous slashes. However, as Yin Song Record continued to attack, more and more gray energy appeared in Night Sorrow's domain, and it continued to corrode Night Sorrow's body. After spinning and slashing 1,000 times at Night Sorrow, Yin Song Record raised his saber in the air. You don't know what's good for you. 1,000 slashes into one kill. As Yin Song Record slashed down with his saber, the wind and clouds stirred up. The energy in the saber he had just sent out all gathered together and slashed at Night Sorrow with a whistling momentum. Powerful. Yin Song Record's saber was very powerful. At that moment, Night Sorrow's aura changed. He turned into a spear that stood between heaven and earth, and then his body became illusory. Yin Song Record's saber slashed at Night Sorrow's body, but there was no trace of blood. Night Sorrow used the spacetime realm and entered the alternate space. Then he appeared in the celestial realm again. Because he was so fast, it was difficult for anyone to discover the secret behind it. Yin Song Record did not understand what was going on when his saber missed. However, the battle could not stop, so his body flashed and charged at Night Sorrow. Samsara Domain. Night Sorrow's body trembled as the Samsara Dao Domain charged forward, charging into Yin Ming Record's Dao Domain and into Yin Ming Record's body. The high-grade Samsara Dao Domain and energy were far from what Yin Ming Record could contend with. Instantly, the energy within Yin Ming Record's body turned chaotic. At the critical moment, the blood-chilling evil-slaying spear in Night Sorrow's right hand pierced through the void and directly entered Yin Cry Record's head, piercing through Yin Cry Record's divine sea and shattering it. Not bad, but you don't have the right to boast that you can kill me. Night Sorrow put away the saber and storage ring. He didn't succeed in killing you, but you're also crippled. The Nine Yin energy entered your body. Even if you survive, your meridians will be destroyed and your cultivation will be gone. Yin Xiaotian stood up. Oh, is that serious? I didn't even notice it. Night Sorrow turned around and walked back to Tianhuang City's camp. As he waved his left arm, a gray energy appeared in the air. Then Night Sorrow clenched his left hand, and the energy was compressed in his palm by Night Sorrow before he threw it into a bottle. Yin Xiaotian was stunned. Yin Xiaotian was stunned for a moment. He naturally recognized that the ball of energy was the 9 energy that Song Record had injected into Night Sorrow's body. You think you can trick me? You're still too naive, but I'm certain of the 9 family status in the world of 9. Night Sorrow turned around and cast a glance at Xiaotian. Damn you. I'll definitely kill you. Xiaotian felt a little embarrassed after being scolded by Night Sorrow. That's what he said just now. Night Sorrow replied and returned to his camp. Then he lowered his head and thought about the characteristics of the 9 family's energy. He no longer paid attention to anyone else. The Imperial Tribulation cultivators from the Demon Wing clan's camp kept roaring and taunting him, but Night Sorrow ignored them. He was in a state of cultivation. The Grand Elder waved his arm, and an energy barrier appeared, blocking the Demon Wing clan's harassment of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's main body and his clone studied the energy at the same time. He understood that the 9 energy was also a combination of energy. It was the extreme side of the 7 ordinary elements, and when combined with the side of the death and space elements, it was the 9 energy. All the elements had 2 sides. Wind had extreme wind and extreme yang wind. Fire had extreme flames and extreme yang flames. In the world of 9, the 9 family combined the negative elements of the 9 elements to form the extremely evil 9 energy. This was also the reason why Wufeng was still troubled by the evil energy even after becoming a monarch. If it wasn't for Night Sorrow's power of virtue, he wouldn't have been able to recover. After studying it for a while, Night Sorrow found that it was very helpful to him, so he began to cultivate. This cultivation lasted for half a month. His main body and his clone accelerated their cultivation for half a month. During this half a month, Night Sorrow was in a state of enlightenment. When he woke up from his state of enlightenment, he felt pretty good. The limitless attribute required a combination of hardness and gentleness, as well as the coexistence of yin and yang. After understanding the 9 energy, Night Sorrow's limitless attribute directly increased by 10%. His other precept domains also increased by quite a bit. Ah, very good, this is the kind of battle I need. Who wants to fight? Let's fight again. Night Sorrow walked out of the camp with the blood-chilling evil-slaying spear in his right hand. At this time the Grand Elder also withdrew the barrier. Mo Zhantian waved his hand, stopping his subordinates from accepting the challenge. He found that Night Sorrow had advanced again. If he didn't make arrangements, sending more people would die. Domain Lord, I've killed 7 people in the past few days, Jianghu said from behind Night Sorrow. Very good. If they don't fight, I'll send them back. If they want to fight but don't have the courage, they won't be able to do anything. Remember, if they're afraid today, they won't be able to straighten their backs in front of you in the future. Look carefully, they're all trash. Every single one of them is trash. Night Sorrow turned around and pointed at the devil-winged clan members one by one. Finally he pointed at Mo Zhantian. Brat, you dare. Mo Zhantian roared at Night Sorrow. You think I don't dare to talk to you? Tianhuang City is right in front of you, but you don't dare to attack. They're all trash and you're a big piece of trash. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of Mo Zhantian at all. Maybe he's right. Tianhuang City is right there. If you want to prove something, then go ahead and attack. Night Sorrow, let's go back. The Grand Elder pulled Night Sorrow back to the camp. He was also worried that Mo Zhantian would suddenly attack. No, maybe. He's a big piece of trash. At this time, an energy body appeared above the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. It was King Yawu. At this time, King Yawu was extremely domineering. Although he was an energy body, the energy waves on his body were constantly rippling, repelling the Nirvana storm. /3GH version Z. Looking at King Yawu's figure, Mo Zhantian's right hand loosened and tightened, wavering between fighting and not fighting. Don't suppress it. If you want to fight, you can fight anytime. Ah, big piece of trash, that's a good name. It suits you. King Yawu laughed. Yawu, do you think you'll win for sure? Then you're wrong. Today I won't fight you, not because I'm afraid of you, but because I'm not strong enough. Mo Zhantian suppressed his desire to fight. He really wanted to fight, but the situation didn't allow it. Chapter 2104. After Night Sorrow returned to the stronghold, he cupped his hands at King Yawu's energy clone. Greetings, Martial Uncle. Ah, very good, very good. Martial Uncle is proud of you. The Divine Capital is proud of you. King Yawu's energy clone nodded at Night Sorrow, his eyes full of praise. Then King Yawu's energy clone disappeared. He had come to take a look after successfully breaking through and was just in time to see this scene. Feng Yuexin and Feng Yunxiao were also at the gate of Nirvana City. This is a true expert. Feng Yuexin knew King Wu, but the King Wu she knew was different. Uncle, second granduncle, I'm sure that those two guys are from the world of Ninein. I know their aura, Wu Feng said to Feng Yuexin and Feng Yunxiao. The guy who's alive now is with Emo Zhantian. We can't do anything. Just bear with it for now. They can't run away, Feng Yuexin said. Feng Yunxiao also nodded. They were very strong, but they couldn't compare to Emo Zhantian. Some secret techniques could be detected after they used them. After Emo Zhantian left, Night Sorrow took out wine and some jerky and sat down with the Grand Elder Lu Qi and Xiaogu. Xiaogu, are you willing to be my disciple? Lu Qi thought for a while and asked Xiaogu. Yes, disciple Xiaogu greets master. Xiaogu stood up and knelt on the ground after hearing Lu Qi's words. Since you're willing, then you're my second disciple. You're also my only disciple for now. Lu Qi didn't support Xiaogu. Xiaogu performed the ceremony of 3 bows and 9 kowtows. Under the witness of the Grand Elder and Night Sorrow, he became Lu Qi's second disciple. Lu Qi's first disciple had led a divine wasteland army to war many years ago and had died in battle. Your foundation in this life is great because of the karma of your previous life. You should have been 2 people in your previous life. However, no matter if it was your body or your soul, you were both indomitable cultivators. Therefore you must live well in this life. Lu Qi looked at Xiaogu and said. Those who were familiar with Xiaogu knew about his situation. His body was the golden body of virtuous virtue, and his soul was a pure soul that was extremely compatible with his body. It was impossible for a person who did not cultivate morality to possess the golden body of merit. It was also impossible for the soul of a cultivator to fuse with the golden body of merit. Master, don't worry. In the future I will follow the Region Lord. The Region Lord is the virtuous sovereign emperor and will not take the wrong path. Therefore the path of this disciple will also not be wrong. Xiaogu said. Child, this is where you're smart. That's the right way to think. Lu Qi nodded with a smile. Night Sorrow stood up and promised that he would take good care of Xiaogu in the future. After a few drinks, Night Sorrow looked at the Grand Elder. Grand Elder, Brother Wu Feng's family is here. I have to greet them. Of course. You and Wu Feng are good friends. You should congratulate him when he finds his family. They actually want to see you and thank you for treating Wu Feng's injuries. The Grand Elder nodded. Then let's go back. If they come, my original body will stop them. Night Sorrow said. His original body was in a state of cultivation, but it was not in a state of enlightenment. He was not afraid of being interrupted and could fight at any time. You can go back. My doppelganger will stay here and watch. I will bring you to see them in a while. The Grand Elder said. He was not at ease with Night Sorrow's original body here. He had to keep Night Sorrow's matter under his nose because he could not afford any problems. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow nodded and looked at Xiaogu. You are not allowed to fight when I'm not around. After saying this, Night Sorrow left. Xiaogu, your Region Lord is a responsible person. He is not at ease with me here. This is a good thing and also a true relationship. You have to cherish it. Lu Qi said with a smile. In Lu Qi's eyes, Xiaogu was a child because he had seen Xiaogu walk over from a somewhat ignorant state. When Night Sorrow returned, the Heaven Wasteland army and cultivators standing in front of the gates of Nirvana City cupped their hands in greeting and opened a path for him. This is a path that we have to walk out of here. You can stand on it and feel it. However, remember, you can only stand within 200 miles of where my original body is. After saying this, Night Sorrow's body swayed and stood on top of the city gates. Then, he cupped his hands in greeting to the Grand Elder. You're back. Let me introduce you. This is Elder Feng Yuexin of the Wind Domain and this is Protector Feng Yunxiao of the Wind Domain. They are Wu Feng's family. The Grand Elder introduced them. Night Sorrow greets Elder Feng and Protector Feng. Night Sorrow cupped his hands in greeting. He could not greet others now. He was the young city lord of Heaven Wasteland City and represented Heaven Wasteland City. He was the law-enforcing patriarch of the Council of Elders of the 100 Races and represented the Council of Elders of the 100 Races. Face was very important. Feng Yuexin and Feng Yunxiao greet the human emperor. Feng Yuexin and Feng Yunxiao both bowed. They had to be respectful when greeting Night Sorrow. The human emperor was a person they had to respect. Night Sorrow took a step forward and reached out to help them up. There's no need for this. In private, the two of you are Night Sorrow's elders because Wu Feng is my elder brother. We also have to thank you for helping Wu Feng solve the problem of the insidious poison in his body. The Feng family should thank you, Feng Yuexin said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow did not know that Wufeng was actually very important to the Wind Domain. His father was the successor of the Wind Domain's Feng family and was the young master of the Wind Domain. After his disappearance, the young master of the Wind Domain had not been replaced. Wufeng's appearance actually meant that the Wind Domain had a successor. The Yi family did not pay attention to the seniority of the direct line of descent. However, for the sake of stability, some forces and families had strict rules. The first rule was that seniority was the first rule. The person in charge was always the eldest son or the eldest senior brother. The two of you don't have to be so polite. Wufeng is my elder brother. He once helped me when I was in danger. Night Sorrow has always remembered this in my heart. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, we brothers don't have to say these things. I have never been polite with you. I don't feel alienated just because you are the human emperor. Wufeng stood out and said. After that, Night Sorrow was invited to the Wind Domain's residence in Tianhuang City by Feng Yuexin. She even set up a banquet for Night Sorrow. Although the Wind Domain's people were not often in Tianhuang City, the size of the residence was not small. There were also a few servants. And while drinking and chatting, Feng Yuexin and Feng Yunxiao once again expressed their gratitude to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, that Yin Xiaotian is the guy who harmed my father. I remember clearly. Normally he is my uncle. Wufeng said softly. Elder brother, I will remember this. If he dares to fight, I will definitely take his head back. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2105. The Power of Tenin. I'll be careful. I also want to see the power of this attribute. It'll be good for my cultivation, Night Sorrow said. But you must be careful. Wufeng didn't say anything else. He knew that Night Sorrow knew that he wouldn't be taken advantage of. After staying in the Wind Realm's mansion for a while, Yishang left and returned to his mansion to gather with his family. Yi Shaoke also ended his cultivation at the Bamboo Forest Peak. The Medicine Valley had completely changed. He didn't want to stay in the Medicine Valley anymore, so he went to Tianhuang City. Yi Shaoke's departure filled Gong Xian's heart with guilt. He knew that if the Medicine Valley didn't disappoint him, it wouldn't be so awkward now, and Yi Shaoke wouldn't have left. The other people at the Taishan Peak were also angry. Some people in the Medicine Valley didn't have self-discipline, which led to today's situation. However, the changes had already begun and they couldn't say anything. Night Sorrow didn't care about this. He asked about Yi Shaoke's cultivation and the Medicine Valley's current situation. Although he was a little angry, he still couldn't let go of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow only felt relieved when he heard that everything was fine in the Medicine Valley. After staying in the mansion for a day, Night Sorrow went to Reincarnation Island to ask about the supply of resources. Although the Four Heaven Wasteland army had consumed a lot of resources, he still had to solve it if he could. After asking, Night Sorrow was relieved. The elders increased the supply of resources to the Heaven Wasteland army on Reincarnation Island. Night Sorrow told Nan Yong and the other commanders that Nan Yong, Shi Qing and Song Jingang should take care of the newcomer Lu Chang, because they would be comrades in battle in the future. After dealing with some trivial matters, Night Sorrow returned to Tianhuang City. When they arrived at the gate of Nirvana City, Night Sorrow glanced at the elders of the Humanitarian League. He wanted to say something but he didn't. He then looked at Lin Piaomiao and said, Sister Xin, keep an eye on Imo Tianji. With that, Night Sorrow leaped off the city gates and left. Originally he wanted to tell Jun Xuanji this, but he felt that it wasn't appropriate. Jun Xuanji looked at him awkwardly, and the person he was looking for was Imo Tianji, who was related to Jun Xuanji. So, he didn't tell Jun Xuanji and went straight to Lin Piaomiao. Looking at Night Sorrow's departing figure, Jun Xuanji couldn't suppress the anger in his heart because Night Sorrow was still avoiding the question. Exhaling, Jun Xuanji suppressed his anger and looked at Lin Piaomiao. I'm more familiar with the operation of the Humanitarian League. Let me arrange it. Sure. Lin Piaomiao nodded. After Night Sorrow left the gate of Nirvana City, he let out a sigh of relief. He really didn't know how to face Jun Xuanji or how to solve the problem. He knew Jun Xuanji's feelings, but he felt that some things were too suitable. He already had a few wives and 6 children, so he didn't want to face this problem. All he could do was avoid it. When he passed by the main body, Night Sorrow glanced at it. Then, he went to the stronghold that was blocking the Nirvana storm. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. In the stronghold, the Grand Elder and Lu Qi were there. Lin Chuan, Long Jin, Tianyu Yimei and Xiaogu were also there. Why are you all here? Knight Sorrow looked at Lin Chuan and the others and asked. Grand Commander, when they come we'll kill another wave, Lin Chuan said. If it was a true gentleman's fight I wouldn't stop you. However, the devil-winged race isn't doing that now. If they feel that it's not enough, they'll play a lose-lose battle or self-destruct. You and Long Jin have no problem fighting at the Emperor rank or Emperor rank, but you won't be able to withstand their constant research and refinement. If they really come up with an effective counter-tactic, it will be troublesome. Knight Sorrow shook his head. Brother 13, let me fight. They don't understand me, Tianyu said. If they come to challenge a middle-class emperor then you can go. However, I didn't notice any middle-class emperor. Knight Sorrow looked at Tianyu and Yi Mei and said. He didn't want Tianyu and Yi Mei to take the risk. No one refuted Knight Sorrow's words. Even Long Jin and the others wanted to fight. They were confident in themselves. They knew that Knight Sorrow cared about them. If the opponent doesn't come, there's no point in you all being anxious. Lu Qi laughed. Probably not. They've been losing without a single victory. They won't be able to take it, Knight Sorrow said. They want face and momentum, but they don't see any hope of victory. Perhaps they have some trump cards at other levels, but with you blocking them they won't have a chance to use them. Grand Elder and Lu Qi both predicted that the opponent wouldn't come. Grand Elder, they will come. They don't have much time left. In another era Heaven Wasteland Domain will be destroyed. At that time, the Devil Imperial City and Heaven Wasteland Domain won't be enough for them to develop. Their alliances won't be strong either. Therefore in this era they won't give up on any opportunity, even if it's a chance of great losses. They don't desire victory but rather a life and death struggle, Knight Sorrow said. Grand Elder and Lu Qi nodded. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, their original thoughts were shaken. In fact, Knight Sorrow was right. Not long after, the Demon Wing clan came again. This time the leader was Mo Lu, and Mo Zhantian stood behind the team. If possible, Mo Zhantian really didn't want to come. It was really embarrassing to be slapped in the face again and again. However, if someone else led the team he wouldn't be able to analyze the situation in depth. He had to know Knight Sorrow's limits and weaknesses. Therefore this time, Mo Lu led the team and he followed behind the team. He wouldn't show himself if he could. Mo Lu's cultivation wasn't very high, but he was an elder of the Elder Guild of the Devil Imperial City. He was a manager and had no problem leading a team. As soon as this happened, Lin Chuan laughed. His laughter was very despicable. After leaving the stronghold, he stretched out his hand and wanted to hook his finger. However, after glancing at Knight Sorrow, he withdrew his hand. He cleared his throat and said, "Why is there a change? Can't your heart take the blow? You guys always say that strength speaks. What's the point of showing off now? If you want to fight, then fight. If not, then go back," Mo Lu said. He was a manager of the Devil Imperial City all year round, so in terms of language he was better than Mo Zhantian. Brother 13? Tianyu looked at Knight Sorrow. If the opponent's middle-class emperor accepts your challenge, you can fight 2 rounds today. After looking at Tianyu, Knight Sorrow made his decision. He felt that with only 2 rounds the opponent wouldn't be able to figure out anything. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Tianyu walked out with his long sword. "Hey, I'm here. Do you have any middle-class emperor coming out to give me your head?" "Knight Sorrow, you don't dare to come out." A young man from the Demon Wing clan stood out. Chapter 2106. If it's your turn to die, you won't be able to avoid it. This one Emperor Tribulation man spoke. He was one of the most outstanding geniuses of the Devil Wing race in this era, Mo Feiying. Your leader was just boasting shamelessly about speaking with strength and not using words. Now that you are saying this, are you trying to slap his face? Lin Chuan asked them why they suddenly changed leaders. Knight Sorrow couldn't be bothered with Mo Feiying. It wasn't that he couldn't use words and psychological tactics. "Hey, why is your leader at the back? How many times has he come and he always leads people to their deaths? Is his face hurt from the slap? Answer me." Lin Chuan played along with Yi Shan's plan and shouted directly at Mo Zhantian. Mo Zhantian's eyes flashed with radiance. Lin Chuan's words really hit his sore spot. If he could, he wanted to kill Lin Chuan and stew his corpse. Who is going to fight and kill him? Mo Lu pointed at Tianyu and shouted. He knew that he couldn't continue this conversation. If he did, it would hurt Mo Zhantian's face. Mo Zhantian's face was the face of the Devil Wing race. Hearing Mo Lu's words, a middle-class emperor from the Devil Wing race stood out. As long as one wasn't an idiot, one would know that only a fight could solve the problem of Mo Zhantian continuing to lose face. Without any communication, Jianghu started the fight. A true fight to the death was a competition of strength and foundation. Jianghu was from the Green Rock race, one of the top divine beast races in the celestial realm. His strength suppressed the Devil Wing race and he had the absolute advantage in speed. The Devil Wing race emperor had wings on his back, but his speed wasn't as fast as Jianghu. The Green Rock race's innate ability allowed Jianghu's speed to be faster than the Devil Wing race emperor, even though the Devil Wing race's wings had a boost to his speed. After Jianghu used Wing Slash, the Devil Wing race's middle-class emperor fell into a disadvantage. Feeling that there was no hope of victory, this Devil Wing race emperor was very straightforward and didn't hesitate to self-destruct the energy in his body. Faced with such a situation, Jianghu naturally pushed his speed to the limit to avoid the threat of his opponent's self-destruction. The Devil Wing race emperor who had already self-detonated naturally didn't want Jianghu to escape like this. If Jianghu ran away, who would he bomb? Using a body as the price to self-destruct just to hear a sound? The Demon Wing race emperor wasn't willing to give up and increased his speed to the extreme. He chased after Jianghu and wanted to self-destruct when he got close to Jianghu. Jianghu used his innate ability, Void Travel, to dodge the Devil Wing race emperor's self-destruction. He then landed in front of the Grand Elder and the others. 13th brother, I believe you. How are they fighting? Their lives are not worth as much as a dog's. You scared me to death. Jianghu exhaled. Yes, this is no longer a regular battle. Knight Sorrow nodded. He was very clear about the Devil Wing race's current situation. They had to get rid of all obstacles in their way at all costs. Mo Feiying stood out and walked in between the two sides. He waved his battle blade. Since I, Mo Feiying, started my career, I have fought in alternate spaces and other realms many times. I have met many experts and have never been defeated. Today you will be one of the dead souls under my battle blade. After speaking, Mo Feiying looked at Yi Shang, his eyes filled with killing intent. Knight Sorrow stretched his body and walked out of the stronghold. At the same time, he looked at Lin Chuan and said, "Prepare to carve words." Just as Knight Sorrow finished speaking, Mo Feiying started to attack. The battle blade in his hand was full of black destructive energy. He extended his body and transformed into 5 figures that attacked Knight Sorrow. After using the void steps to change his position and arrange his defense, Knight Sorrow started to observe Mo Feiying's situation. With the spread of his soul power, Knight Sorrow found that Mo Feiying's situation was similar to the Phantom race. The energy clones had 70% of the original body's energy and had both attack and defense power. Mo Feiying's attacks were very sharp. The 5 figures attacked at the same time and slashed out continuously, enveloping the entire battlefield. Knight Sorrow waved his blood-chilling evil-slaying spear and kept attacking, blocking all the attacks of Mo Feiying's energy clones. At the same time, he used the void steps to move his body. He did not want to face more than 2 energy clones. He was guarding against self-destruction. When several energy clones self-destructed together, the power would be great. Mo Feiying's speed was very fast. In addition to the saber attacks, he also had soul attacks. However, the soul attacks were ineffective against Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow's head had a green halo rippling, blocking all the soul attacks. You are not much. I don't know how arrogant you were in the past. Mo Feiying, who was temporarily in the upper hand, roared. The more he fought, the fiercer he became. However, it was to no avail. Knight Sorrow's speed was very fast. His body was like a blade of the void. When he moved, it was as if he was cutting through space and teleporting to the next place. Why isn't 13th brother using his ultimate move? Yimei was a little anxious. Mo Feiying's current combat strength was indeed shocking. Lin Chuan, Long Jin and the others did not say anything. They did not even blink, mainly because they did not want to miss anything. After fighting for 15 minutes, Knight Sorrow's aura changed. His spacetime attribute Dao domain switched to the reincarnation Dao domain. The power of the Dao domain rushed out in all directions. Then he used the soul extinguishing slash, slashing at the figure with the densest energy. Knight Sorrow could tell that it was Mo Feiying's true body. When Knight Sorrow released his reincarnation Dao domain, Mo Feiying was immediately suppressed. So what if he had the supreme attribute? He was still suppressed by the taboo attribute. After releasing his Dao domain and changing the situation, Knight Sorrow's spear technique also changed. Every move was an ultimate move. He kept attacking Mo Feiying's true body. Mo Feiying naturally understood what was going on. He knew that Knight Sorrow was using his full strength. He controlled his energy clone to intercept Knight Sorrow, not giving Night Sorrow a chance to attack his true body. When Night Sorrow attacked Mo Fei's true body and was intercepted by the energy clones, he executed the spacetime realm and went around Mo Fei's energy clones to attack his true body. The spacetime realm was a top-notch ultimate move. It allowed Night Sorrow to shuttle back and forth between the alternate space and the celestial realm. Mo Fei's energy clone could not intercept him. Night Sorrow used the true reincarnation dragon art and primordial extreme kill to continuously attack Mo Fei's true body. After successfully cultivating the primordial attribute, Night Sorrow's void attribute ultimate move became the primordial attribute ultimate move. Its power was different from before. Mo Fei's energy clone was constantly being damaged and destroyed by Night Sorrow's attacks. Night Sorrow used his ultimate move to activate the ripple force, which caused great damage to the energy clone. After fighting for an hour, more than half of the energy in Mo Fei's true body was consumed. As his energy clone was constantly being destroyed, he could not bear it. At that moment, Mo Fei's body shook, and another figure appeared. Primordial Extreme Body. Chapter 2107. Mo Fei's doppelganger consumed a lot of energy, but his main body was in peak condition. This was the effect he wanted. His doppelganger would exhaust Night Sorrow's doppelganger, and then his main body would go out and kill Night Sorrow by surprise. After all, his main body's combat power was higher than his doppelganger's. The appearance of Mo Fei's main body shocked the Grand Elder and Lu Qi. Both of them stood up. Mo Fei's strength was very strong, and his schemes were terrifying. At this time he still had a hidden trump card which was deadly. 2 of Mo Fei's 8 energy clones rushed towards Night Sorrow. He had already calculated that as long as the 8 energy clones trapped Night Sorrow, he would self-destruct. Even if he would suffer a great negative impact, he would still do so to destroy Night Sorrow's doppelganger. His purpose of fighting would be achieved. However, Mo Fei was not very confident because Night Sorrow's movement technique was too heaven-defying. There were not many opportunities to trap Night Sorrow. The scene was still in a stalemate. Both sides were grasping the key points. Night Sorrow's target was Mo Fei's main body, while Mo Fei was seizing the opportunity to trap Night Sorrow and self-destruct. Intense. This battle was the most intense battle since the arranged battle. Mo Fei's strength was indeed strong. Each of his energy clones used different techniques and precept domains. Night Sorrow's space-time realm was overbearing. Mo Fei could not trap Night Sorrow, so he thought of a way to kill him. In fact, it was not his idea, but Mo Zhantian's soul voice transmission. Mo Fei wanted to use his main body as bait, and then the 8 energy clones would surround him and self-destruct. With this plan in mind, Mo Fei's main body's movement speed decreased. Night Sorrow naturally seized the opportunity. He approached Mo Fei's main body, and Mo Fei's 8 energy clones also surrounded him. Exhaling, Night Sorrow's power of merit burst out and supported his reincarnation precept domain. Then, the power of the precept domain attacked in all directions. Following that, the blood-chilling evil-slaying spear used the reincarnation true dragon art and attacked Mo Fei's main body. With the release of Night Sorrow's merit precept domain, Mo Fei's 8 energy clones were all blocked outside Night Sorrow's precept domain. Even if they self-destruct, their power would not be able to's. Meanwhile, Yishan's killer move arrived in front of Mo Fei's main body. Mo Fei's main body. He did not expect Mo's main body would be So's main body's attack. Unable to dodge the attack, Mo Fei's doppelganger flashed. Relying on his soul power, Mo Fei's doppelganger arrived before Mo Fei's main body. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Buzz. Night Sorrow's blood-chilling evil-slaying spear appeared and blocked Mo Fei's battle blade. Then it poured into the chest of Mo Fei's clone. As the blood-chilling evil-slaying spear's energy vibrated, Mo Fei's meridians and bones were all destroyed. At this juncture, Mo Fei's main body woke up. He quickly retreated and returned to the Devil Winged Clan's camp. His 8 energy clones also dissipated. After Night Sorrow kept Mo Fei's clone storage ring and weapon, he looked at Mo Fei and said, spouting nonsense and boasting shamelessly, "Now do you know how arrogant I was in the past?" Mo Fei's face was pale. Not only did he lose face but his body and soul were also severely injured. He really could not answer Night Sorrow's question. How could he answer? What if Night Sorrow wanted to fight again if he opened his mouth? Mo Zhantian, is this the gentleman's battle that you want? A gentleman's battle will not end until one of us dies. You ran away just like that? The Grand Elder stood up. This time we were in the wrong. We lost this battle. Emo Jiantian did not refute the Grand Elder's words. After speaking to the Grand Elder, Emo Jiantian did not wait for the Grand Elder to speak. He then looked at the Devil-Winged Clan's camp and said, I don't want to execute you. However, if something like this happens again in the future, I will not tolerate it. The Grand Elder snorted and did not speak again. Emo Feng had retreated. It was not realistic to catch him. Even if Emo Jiantian had spoken, he would not hand him over. After taking a look at Emo Feng, Night Sorrow returned to the stronghold. Lin Chuan carved his name. Tianyu poured a glass of wine for Night Sorrow. Brother Shirsan is so domineering. Lu Qi also patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. He knew that Emo Feng was really strong. Other than Night Sorrow, the other First Emperor Tribulation cultivators of the Celestial Realm could not take him down. Even if they went to battle, they would be killed. Night Sorrow had also used the power of the Human Emperor to defeat him. Of course, Emo Feng's original body and doppelganger had fought together. Night Sorrow was only a doppelganger, so they were fundamentally different. While Night Sorrow's original body was cultivating, he was also studying Emo Feng's battle specialties. His doppelganger was talking to Lin Chuan and the others. On top of the Nirvana City's gate tower, Feng Yuxian also nodded. Grand Elder, this human emperor of the Celestial Realm's 100 tribes is really amazing. The battle strength that he displayed just now was really strong. After he went to battle, he completely suppressed the Gentleman's Challenge of the Demon Wing Clan. He also killed some of their ideas and goals. The Grand Elder nodded with a smile. He was very happy now. After living for 8 eras, he had seen all kinds of cultivators. Some were killed by the heavenly tribulation, but he had never seen anyone with a battle strength like Night Sorrow. The cultivators of the Demon Wing Clan are really strong. That cultivator from the world of Nine Yin and Emo Feng from the Demon Wing Clan are both very outstanding. We have to admit that. Also, we have to be careful. The more the Human Emperor fights, the more the other side will understand, Feng Yuxian said. The Grand Elder nodded. This was also what he was worried about. The Demon Wing Clan temporarily gave up the challenge. The situation had already exceeded Emo Jiantian's expectations. He originally calculated that Emo Feng and Night Sorrow were about the same level, but in fact, Emo Feng and his doppelganger were not able to defeat Night Sorrow. In such a situation, he knew that it would be very difficult to win if they continued to fight. Knowing Night Sorrow's strength and being able to restrain him were two different things. Since the Demon Wing Clan did not challenge, Night Sorrow was also too lazy to fight. He was now in the period of increasing his strength, and the longer he fought, the more benefits he would gain. However, there were still people who were unwilling to do so. Yin Xiaotian of the Demon Wing Clan was unwilling. Yin Ming Record had failed, but his battle strength was not something Yin Ming Record could compare to. There was also a huge gap between the two. There was also the genius of the Demon Wing Clan, Dark Feather. She was a woman, but her cultivation was at the Second Emperor Tribulation. Yin Xiaotian and Dark Feather wanted to fight, but were stopped by Emo Jiantian. Emo Jiantian did not want to waste any more talents and opportunities. The cultivators of the Demon Wing Clan were strong, but there were not many who could truly stand on the same level as them, so he cherished them. If it was not for cherishing talents, he would not have told the Grand Elder that the Demon Wing Clan was in the wrong and killed Emo Feng. That way the Demon Wing Clan would not lose face. Chapter 2108. Emo Qinji felt that the most important thing now was to solve the problem of her own safety. If the Patriarch of the 100 Races of Celestial Realm found her through Jun Xuanji's soul, she would be dead for sure. Emo Qinji was a confident person, but there was a limit to her confidence. She could talk about confidence with ordinary cultivators, but not with the City Lord, King Yenwu, and the Grand Elder. If the three of them found her, she didn't dare to think about the consequences. After thinking for a while, Emo Qinji decided to find a way to reach the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and meet up with Emo Jiantian. Then they could return to the Demon Imperial City and resolve the crisis. Emo Qinji knew that it would be very difficult to reach the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and meet up with Emo Jiantian. The city was heavily guarded, and it would be almost impossible for her to get there. Most importantly, her soul realm was high. If she appeared in the city, she would be easily discovered by the City Lord and the Grand Elder. After thinking for a while, Emo Qinji came up with an idea. If she couldn't do it, she would let someone else do it. She would control someone to enter the city and let them get onto the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. As long as they could get out of the city and onto the bridge, she would have a chance. Emo Chinji was a person who did big things and was also a person with courage. She would do what she thought and she had a plan. Emo Chinji planned to capture a famous monarch emperor who didn't walk around much. She planned to control this monarch emperor to bring a spatial treasure to the city. She would stay in the spatial treasure and find a chance to get to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Emo Chinji didn't consider the monarch emperor of the Ethereal Dynasty because the Ethereal Dynasty had many connections in the city. It would be easy for problems to arise. After investigating, Emo Chinji locked onto a monarch emperor called Luo Cheng. Luo Cheng's title was Savage Monarch Emperor. There were two reasons for this title. One was that Luo Cheng's battle style was fierce and he fought like a savage. The other was that Luo Cheng lived in Savage Valley. Emo Chinji had other reasons for choosing Luo Cheng. She felt that Luo Cheng had a weakness. Luo Cheng had a wife and 2 children. She felt that as long as she controlled Luo Cheng's family, Luo Cheng would submit. Another point was that Luo Cheng had nothing to do with the 100 Races alliance of the Celestial Realm in the Celestial Realm. In other words, he did not have a sense of existence. This situation also showed that Luo Cheng did not have a sense of belonging to the 100 Races alliance of the Celestial Realm. After locking onto the target, Emo Chinji took action. She was a decisive person and had a strong sense of danger. If she didn't deal with Jun Xuanji, she would face the risk of being exterminated by the 3 giants of the Celestial Realm. CLQ. Hereafter cultivating in the time acceleration for many years, Emo Chinji was already a peak mid-stage Imperial Emperor. She was naturally not afraid of Luo Cheng, who was also an Imperial Emperor. She directly went to Yeren Valley. While Luo Cheng was cultivating, Emo Chinji subdued Luo Cheng's wife and children. She knocked them all unconscious and threw them into her spatial treasure. After Luo Cheng reacted, he started fighting with Emo Chinji. Emo Chinji and Luo Cheng had the same cultivation, but their actual combat power was like heaven and earth. Luo Cheng's every attack was neutralized by Emo Chinji and repelled. In half an hour, Luo Cheng was repelled countless times. In other words, if Emo Chinji wanted to kill him, she would have killed him countless times. Who are you? What do you want? Luo Cheng roared at Emo Chinji with bloodshot eyes. Can we talk now? Do you think we can talk? Then let's talk. Emo Chinji swung her skirt and sat down on a stone stool. Who are you? What do you want? Luo Cheng roared, asking the same question. Who I am is not important. What's important is whether you can work for me. After speaking, Emo Chinji's soul power moved and took Luo Cheng's unconscious daughter out of the spatial treasure. Her right hand's 5 fingers moved around Luo Cheng's daughter's head. Luo Cheng's expression changed greatly. He knew this was a threat. If he didn't compromise, if he didn't do as the woman wanted, his daughter's head would be crushed instantly. Emo Chinji smiled. Have you thought it through? Can you work for me? After asking this, Emo Chinji's right hand grabbed the top of Luo Cheng's daughter's head. Stop. You can ask for anything. Luo Cheng shouted. He couldn't bear to see his daughter's head being crushed in front of him. He hated himself for being so useless. They were both monarch emperors, but he was much weaker than Emo Chinji. Then I'll ask for something. If you work for me, I'll give you a chance. As long as you do as I ask after it's done, you and I will be me. There will be no more entanglements. Emo Chinji said. Luo Cheng didn't say anything. Emo Chinji's words were too vague. He couldn't accept it. He couldn't be someone's subordinate for the rest of his life. Bring my spatial treasure to Tianhuang City. Bring it to the gates of Nirvana City and your mission will be complete. I will release your wife and daughter and have no more entanglements with you. Emo Chinji stated her purpose. You're Emo Chinji? Luo Cheng looked at Emo Chinji. He wasn't a fool. He didn't have much contact with the outside world, but he knew some important things. After hearing Emo Chinji's request and analyzing the situation, he knew who this woman was. Only Emo Chinji of the Devil Wing clan would have such a request. I'm not surprised that you know me. However, this has nothing to do with your choice. You have 2 choices today. The first is to swear to the heavenly Tao that you will work for me. If you fulfill my request, I will release your family. The second is to send your family on their way. After that, I will choose another target. Emo Chinji's right hand started to tighten. Stop. I can work for you, but you have to swear to the heavenly Tao that you won't harm my wife and children. You can't purposely trick me either. Otherwise, I will be destroyed by the heavens and earth. Luo Cheng said. Luo Cheng knew that danger was coming. If he didn't do as Mo Tianji asked, his family would die. If he did as Mo Tianji asked, he would still die if he was exposed. Therefore he asked for a way to protect himself. All right. My goal is to step onto the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. To put it bluntly, a monarch like you is just a small fish in my eyes. It's not worth tricking you. Mo Tianji swore to the heavenly Tao according to Luo Cheng's request. She was in a hurry to go back. Therefore, even though she felt that it was beneath her to swear to the heavenly Tao, she still swore to avoid unnecessary trouble. Looking at Mo Tianji, Luo Cheng swore to the heavenly Tao as well. He would bring Mo Tianji to the entrance of Nirvana City. What happened next would be Mo Tianji's own business. I won't trick you. I will think for you. When the time comes, I will leave your side. I will leave on my own so that you have a chance to survive in the celestial realm. However, you have to think for me too. This is a cooperation. Mo Tianji said. Luo Cheng nodded. He knew that this was his fate. If something went wrong, he would either die at Mo Tianji's hands or die under the rules of the Celestial Realm's 100 Races Alliance. He could only live if everything went well. Chapter 2109. Although her heart was pounding, Mo Tianji knew that she could not wait any longer because the sense of danger was too strong. She had to take her fate into her own hands. After reaching an agreement, Mo Tianji took out a spatial treasure and threw it to Luo Cheng. Luo Cheng, your family is here. I'll give it to you now, but don't try to open it. After I leave, I'll take back my soul imprint. Looking at the cauldron-like spatial treasure in his hand, Luo Cheng nodded and put it away. He didn't want to open it by force because he knew what kind of person Mo Tianji was. If she wanted to destroy it, it would be very easy. Then Mo Tianji took out a loft-like spatial treasure. Take this with you. I'll communicate with you through my soul power. Let's go now. With that, Mo Tianji disappeared from the real world and entered the spatial treasure. Reaching out and grabbing the loft-like spatial treasure, Luo Cheng knew that the test of fate had begun. He did not know if he could pass it. After leaving the Yeren Valley, Luo Cheng hurried toward the ethereal imperial city. Many people knew that the ethereal imperial city had an emperor-level teleportation formation that led to the Heaven Wasteland City. It was not a secret. At present, not only were there people from the ethereal imperial court guarding it, there were also commanders of the Heaven Wasteland army taking turns to guard it. Luo Cheng felt that he could pass it. Even if he had been living in seclusion and did not walk in the celestial realm, there would be a record of him in the Heaven Wasteland City. Besides, he did not have any bad records. Even if he was investigated, he was qualified to serve the Heaven Wasteland City. Luo Cheng's teleportation formation was stopped because not everyone could teleport. It needed to be investigated. The Heaven Wasteland City was very strict because of the Divine Devil Castle, an information organization. In less than 4 hours, the commander of the Heaven Wasteland Army allowed Luo Cheng to teleport. After the Divine Devil Castle investigated the information, Luo Cheng passed the investigation and was qualified to enter the Heaven Wasteland City. Taking the teleportation formation, Luo Cheng arrived at the Heaven Wasteland City. Then he applied to join the Heaven Wasteland Army. He needed a reason to come to the Heaven Wasteland City, and his reason was to join the Heaven Wasteland Army. Luo Cheng was assigned to the reserve army camp to wait for the recruitment of the Heaven Wasteland Army. At the same time, he was also qualified to walk around the Heaven Wasteland City. Mo Tianji was very nervous. This was a critical moment. She could only check a small area with her soul power. She didn't want to be detected by the mayor and the Grand Elder. Luo Cheng also told Mo Tianji about the situation outside. The soldiers of Heavenly Wasteland City often went to the entrance of Nirvana City to feel the aura of the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Luo Cheng was also qualified to do so. He explained the situation on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge to Mo Tianji. That's the Grand Elder of the Council of Elders. I can only leave when he's not around. I can't leave now. She could choose not to avoid other people, but she had to avoid the city lord of Tianhuang City, King Yewu, and the Grand Elder, the 3 giants of the Council of Patriarchs. As long as she could avoid these 3 people, she was confident that she could break through the blockade and meet up with Mo Zhantian. Mo Zhantian would be able to bring her away. However, what made Mo Tianji frustrated was that the Great Elder was not moving on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Mo Tianji was not the only one who was frustrated. Luo Cheng was also anxious. He was anxious to send the Plague God away so that he and his family would be safe. The Grand Elder stayed in the stronghold on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. When he was interested, he would guide the cultivation of Lin Chuan and the others. Even if he had nothing to do, he would close his eyes and rest. He had no intention of leaving. The Grand Elder was worried about Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's avatar and main body were on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. If Heavenly Wasteland City didn't care about morals and rules, then Night Sorrow would be in danger. This was a risk that the Grand Elder wasn't willing to take. Under such circumstances, Mo Tianji and Luo Cheng couldn't do anything. Mo Tianji was worried that Luo Cheng wouldn't be able to hold on. She promised Luo Cheng that as long as he persevered, she would return the Nirvana Ocean Bridge to Luo Cheng and his family in 3 years. And $5 original first offer, okay. Luo Cheng felt more at ease after receiving Mo Tianji's promise. Since he didn't have the chance to send Mo Tianji away, Luo Cheng lived his life normally. He successfully joined the Heavenly Wasteland Army and stayed in Heavenly Wasteland City. At the gate of Nirvana City, Jun Xuanji frowned after hearing the report from his subordinates. There was still no news. Even the fortune teller was useless because Mo Tianji had a treasure that could prevent her from being divined. Manager Jun, is there something wrong? Pu Luo asked. That's not right. Last time, when she arranged for someone to guide me in my cultivation, she should have known about my situation. I wasn't punished by the 100 Races Alliance and was living well. She should have analyzed that I would enter the Emperor realm and awaken my memories, Jun Xuanji said. If she has such an analysis and judgment, then it's not right. Lin Piaomiao nodded. She shouldn't be so calm. After I awaken my memories, as long as I don't seal them, I will have some connection with her. Do you think she's not afraid? Naturally, she's afraid that the 100 Races Alliance will find her through the connection. Does she plan to stay in a spatial treasure for the rest of her life? That's not realistic, Jun Xuanji said. This woman is cunning and hard to deal with, the Great Demon King said. The main thing is that we can't find her. It's indeed difficult to deal with her. Jun Xuanji rubbed his forehead. The Humanitarian League began to analyze the situation. After talking for a while, everyone came to a conclusion. Mo Tianji only had 2 choices. One was to stay in the spatial treasure and isolate her aura so that Jun Xuanji would not be able to sense her. The other was to find a way to return to the Devil Imperial City of Heaven Wasteland. The current situation of the Devil Imperial City is quite special. In order to prepare for war, the Devil Imperial City has recruited a lot of new people. It's hard to say who these people are. Perhaps some of them are Mo Tianji's lackeys, Jun Xuanji said. Then how can we catch her? Do you have any good ideas? Yu Zhu asked. Jun Xuanji lowered his head and thought. He didn't say anything. He knew that if she married someone and then unsealed her soul, Mo Tianji's Dao heart would be destroyed. She wouldn't be able to continue cultivating the emotionless Dao. That wasn't realistic. Emotions couldn't be replicated. This was a good plan, but Jun Xuanji couldn't say it. No matter what, she was someone who cared about her reputation. There were some things that she couldn't say to others. Jun Xuanji was thinking, but the others didn't say anything. The Nirvana Ocean Bridge isn't that easy to cross. Even if Mo Tianji comes to the Devil Imperial City, she won't dare to move. The Grand Elder is always on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Reese said. He didn't care about these things. If there were battles, he would fight. If there were no battles, he would live a comfortable life. Chapter 21:10. The battle did not continue. Mo Zhantian was thinking about how to solve the problem. He knew that the appearance of this difficulty was a hurdle for the Heaven Wasteland domain, a tribulation. The appearance of every human emperor of the 100 Races Alliance of the Celestial Realm was a great blow to the Heaven Wasteland domain and the Demon Wing clan. It had always been like this. Many talented seniors of the Demon Wing clan had fallen in the hands of human emperors, including the demon ancestor of the previous reincarnation. Thinking of the demon ancestor, Mo Zhantian's heart beat rapidly. After a part of the demon ancestor's soul returned, it was different from before. Could even be said that it had a heartbeat. Of course, it would only beat once in a long time. Mo Zhantian had a deep understanding of the demon ancestor. He had seen the demon ancestor in battle. He knew that if the demon ancestor woke up, then the Demon Wing clan of the Heaven Wasteland domain could directly attack the Celestial Realm, and the Heaven Wasteland domain would not be able to stop them. The demon ancestor had fallen in the hands of a human emperor, and Night Sorrow had become a hindrance. Mo Zhantian was thinking about how to solve the problem. At present, there were still several powerful figures in the Demon Wing clan's camp, including Yin Xiaotian and Dark Feather. In addition, there was a cultivator of the first Emperor Tribulation from the Thousand Mountains domain who had recently arrived. Night Sorrow had said that he would accept any battle with a cultivator of the second Emperor Tribulation, which meant that Dark Feather was also qualified to fight with Night Sorrow. Mo Zhantian had 3 trump cards in his hands, but he did not dare to use them easily. In addition, he took out the best resources of the Demon Wing clan to let Mo Feiying recover fully. Mo Feiying's future achievements aside, his current fighting strength was very strong. After recovering, he was still qualified to fight with Night Sorrow, and had the opportunity to severely injure Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's realm and soul power improved very quickly. He integrated the essence of the Tao domain into his body so that while his body was strengthened, it also had Tao rhythms. Of course, he was only a cultivator of the first Emperor Tribulation, and the power of the Tao domain was not enough. Using it to strengthen his body, it only gave his body a trace of Tao rhythms. Time flew by quickly. After a year of confrontation, Night Sorrow once again made progress. His force of nothingness had reached 20%. In other words, he had passed the Thunder Tribulation, so he was now a cultivator of the Second Emperor Tribulation. However, Night Sorrow was not in a hurry to transcend the Tribulation. He continued to cultivate his other attributes and continued to improve his Limitless attribute. Night Sorrow had broken through the bottleneck of the Limitless attribute from intermediate to advanced, but it was still exceptionally difficult to cultivate. After all, it was a domain that he wasn't proficient in. Last time, after analyzing the 9 attribute, his Limitless attribute had a breakthrough and reached the 8-star Emperor rank, which was the intermediate Emperor rank. However, after 50 years of accelerated cultivation, he had only improved a little. He hadn't even reached the mid-stage 8-star Monarch realm. However, Night Sorrow's state of mind was good. He was happy to see any improvement. He knew that no matter which cultivator, if they wanted to have any achievements, they would have to go through many years of cultivation. He was already very satisfied with himself. Night Sorrow had improved, and so did the people around him. The people around him were all clones, while his true body was cultivating at a high speed. In this year, the person who improved the fastest was Jun Xuanji. Her speed could be described as heaven-defying. Ever since she had awakened her memories, her cultivation had been increasing in a straight line. Mo Tianji's cultivation experience and comprehension were actually hers. Her cultivation path was to absorb energy to increase her cultivation and stabilize her realm. This was something that no one could compare to. Jun Xuanji, who was cultivating in the time acceleration, was already at the peak of the Emperor realm. She could step into the Emperor realm at any time. In the entire celestial realm's history, other than Night Sorrow, no one had Jun Xuanji's speed. One had to know that she was about the same age as Night Sorrow. Of course, everyone knew that there was a cause and effect relationship. Jun Xuanji was a reincarnation. Her cultivation path was different from Night Sorrow's. Another thing was that the Yi clan had another Emperor realm expert. Dachira, whose original body had been cultivating in the Yellow Spring River, had stepped into the Emperor realm. This was great news for the Yi clan. Currently, the Yi clan had 3 cultivators above the Emperor realm: Night Sorrow, Lin Piaomiao, and Dachira. Such a clan didn't exist in the celestial realm. After entering the Emperor realm, Dachira met Night Sorrow once. She told Night Sorrow that she had comprehended another absolute art. It was a top-notch absolute art, undying body. She could fight like the Devil Eagle. Moreover, all of them were real bodies and wouldn't be killed. No matter which body was killed, it would only consume energy. It had nothing to do with the original body or the clone's real body. This was the talent of the heavenly Tao Bell spirit, Dachira. As long as one of the original body and the clone had an energy body, they would be undying and indestructible. After hearing Dachira's words, Night Sorrow was incomparably happy. His wife had a way to protect herself so he could worry less. Night Sorrow. In the end, it's us humans who are at a disadvantage. Our talents can't compare to the divine beasts and some life forms born from the heaven and earth Bell spirit. The Grand Elder said with a smile. Humans are the spirit of all living things. Humans might not be as talented, but I feel that in terms of perception, humans should have an advantage. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said. Lu Qi clapped her hands. Smart people. No matter if it's the divine beasts or life forms born from the heaven and earth Bell spirit, they are indeed stronger than humans in certain stages. However, to reach the peak they need perception. Throughout the history of the celestial realm, the real cultivators who can reach the peak are all humans. What does this mean? It means that perception is very important. Aluo, don't take it to heart. Your path is different from others. In the past there was no such situation. After speaking, Lu Qi explained. He didn't want his words to cause a knot in Datura's heart and affect his future cultivation. 7 Clan Elder, you worry too much. Datura smiled. Night Sorrow, how's your original body's cultivation going? The Grand Elder changed the topic. Everything is going well. One of my attributes has reached the level of the Second Emperor Tribulation, but I'm not in a hurry to go through the tribulation. I plan to wait. The other party has a few powerful ones at the level of the First Emperor Tribulation. I'll wait for them to challenge me. Night Sorrow said. You're too ruthless. You're trying to destroy their seedlings and destroy their foundation. The Grand Elder said. Every force cared about the elites of the younger generation because that was the future. According to Night Sorrow's thinking, the demon-winged clan would have a shortage of elites in the future. Forever, are long free, CF small 3 said %. Grand Elder, it doesn't matter whether I'm ruthless or not. What's important is that the Celestial Realms alliance of 100 races needs stability. This era is over, this cycle is over, and Tianhuang is destroyed. However, the Demon-Winged Clan and the Demon Imperial City are rooted in our Celestial Realm. Who can say that they can break the Demon Imperial City? If we can't break it, then we have to do our best to severely damage the strength of the Demon-Winged Clan. I want to fight for this era. Night Sorrow said his thoughts. Chapter 21:11. The Grand Elder sighed. He knew that Night Sorrow was doing this for the Celestial Realm. If it were not for the 100 Races Alliance of the Celestial Realm, Night Sorrow would have been able to cultivate steadily, which was equivalent to 8 more epochs, close to 1 cycle of life. Everyone believed that Night Sorrow, even without the taboo attribute, could pass the Emperor Tribulation by relying on his supreme attribute and body of merit. Night Sorrow smiled. Our standpoint is different from that of the Heaven Wasteland domain. In fact, we cannot say that they are wrong, but the Celestial Realm is our Celestial Realm, and we will not allow them to strut around. Yes, the alternation between the old and new supreme worlds is the rule of the heavenly Tao. The life of the two worlds may not necessarily be unable to coexist, but the demon-winged race's position at the beginning was to rule and kill, so it continued and became an irreconcilable racial hatred, the Grand Elder said. Their civilization and philosophy are in conflict with ours, which is the basic reason why we cannot coexist. They think that the demon-winged race can be superior to other races, which is a big mistake. Fight, we will fight to the end. Night Sorrow said. We are about to fight to the end. This confrontation is the last epoch of the last cycle of the Celestial Realm. It is a battle to the death. No matter the result, we have an explanation to the ancestors of the 100 Races Alliance of the Celestial Realm. The Grand Elder looked in the direction of Heaven Wasteland domain. There had been too many cultivators of the Celestial Realm who had spilled blood over there. A long period of non-scheduled battles was disadvantageous for the demon-winged race who took the initiative to come for the Gentleman's Challenge. The Gentleman's Challenge was initiated by the demon-winged race. If they could not win, they would lose face and momentum. It should be said that the demon-winged race of Heaven Wasteland domain, like the cultivators of Heaven Wasteland domain, were very concerned about the process and result of the battle. The failure of the previous battles had already impacted the morale of the demon-winged race. A new wave of battles began. Zhen Yin of the demon-winged race had challenged the Emperor, and Emperor Tribulation levels. They temporarily gave up on the Emperor Tribulation levels. On the 100 Races Alliance's side, Tianyu was at the top of the Emperor rank. Long Jin had already become a 9-star Emperor and had successfully passed his first Emperor Tribulation. At the Emperor Tribulation level, Mo Zhantian gave guidance to a few cultivators who had a chance to fight against Night Sorrow. Luo Cheng would walk around the city gate every day. After a year, Luo Cheng's heart had calmed down. He knew that there was no point in being anxious. If Mo Qianji didn't leave Tianhuang City, she wouldn't let him go. There had been no news of Mo Qianji, and Jun Xuanji felt a sense of crisis. Mo Qianji was one of the leaders of the Demon Wing clan. Whether it was in terms of background or courage, she could not be considered as a normal person. Who knew when she would cause a big incident? She had a solution, but she couldn't use it. Night Sorrow hadn't returned to the Heavenly Desolation City recently. His original body and avatar were cultivating on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Jun Xuanji didn't even have a chance to communicate with him. Jun Xuanji knew that Night Sorrow wasn't targeting her. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow was like this when he cultivated. Falling in love and marrying someone else just to stabilize her Tao heart? The extremely proud Jun Xuanji wouldn't do such a thing. Even if the 100 races of the Celestial Realm were defeated, Jun Xuanji wouldn't do such a thing. This was her pride. After pondering for a moment, Jun Xuanji jumped down from the gate tower and arrived at the cultivation area of Night Sorrow's original body. Although the area within 200 miles of Night Sorrow's original body's cultivation area was forbidden, that was only for others. Sensing Jun Xuanji's arrival, Night Sorrow opened his eyes and stopped the time acceleration. At the same time he descended from the clear sky pagoda. Xuanji, you're here. Did something big happen? Yes. I want to talk to you. Let's enter your spatial treasure. Jun Xuanji said. Night Sorrow nodded. His soul power enveloped Jun Xuanji and brought him into the clear sky pagoda's living space. Night Sorrow's living space in the clear sky pagoda wasn't luxurious, but it was very stylish. It was a cultivation room but more like a study. After pulling out a chair for Jun Xuanji, Night Sorrow took out a teapot and was about to make tea. No tea. Let's drink today. Jun Xuanji took out a jar of wine and poured 2 bowls. J asterisk new J sharp soonest read. Night Sorrow nodded and drank a mouthful of wine. Seeing that Jun Xuanji didn't say anything, the two of them fell into an awkward silence. It wasn't like this in the past. After a moment of awkward silence, Night Sorrow spoke. What's the matter? Today I want to talk to you seriously. There are some things that we have to talk about, Jun Xuanji said. Okay, is the matter that serious? Yishan was stunned after hearing Jun Xuanji's words. Jun Xuanji nodded and told him about his deduction and estimation of Mo Tianji. Do you think Mo Tianji doesn't know that I've reached the peak of the Celestial Emperor realm? Wouldn't she be worried? So, she might already be executing her plan. It's definitely not in the planning stage, Jun Xuanji emphasized after telling him the details. Yishang stood up and paced back and forth a few times before saying, I've never thought about it. Based on your cultivation speed, her cultivation should be about the same as yours. Her soul is the soul of her main body, but your soul is highly compatible with your body, so your cultivation speed should be about the same. You really have to take this seriously. I've already taken this seriously, but that bitch is very good at hiding. Divination is useless against her. How can I find her? Jun Xuanji looked at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow slapped his forehead. I've been thinking about quickly improving myself and haven't paid much attention to these things. Thank you for your hard work. Do you know how hard it's been for me? Jun Xuanji asked. I know, of course I know. In the past, you helped me manage the 9 regions world, then the 9 heavens army and now the Humanitarian League. I've seen all your hard work and I know how much you've done. Night Sorrow smiled at Jun Xuanji. He didn't want to talk while being suppressed. You know how much you've done? You're pushing me toward Qinglin? Jun Xuanji was a bit agitated. I apologize for that matter. I sincerely apologize. Night Sorrow quickly raised the wine bowl in his hand toward Jun Xuanji. I was angry at you, but I know that I have no reason to blame you. Let's not talk about the past. Now let's talk about the future. First, we have to deal with Mo Tianji, that scourge. Jun Xuanji got to the point. This was also her goal. Tell me what to do. I'll arrange it. We can't let her escape. Her existence is also a threat to you, Night Sorrow nodded. You'll arrange it? Since you said so, I'll tell you the situation. Mo Tianji is in charge of the Demon Wing clan civilization. She prides herself on being holy and cultivates the emotionless Tao. Our souls come from the same place, but we cultivate the emotionless Tao. In the future, when the seal on my soul is released, our ideologies will clash. So, as long as I stabilize my Tao heart of the emotionless Tao, I'll be invincible, Jun Xuanji said. Different Tao hearts. I understand that. Continue. Night Sorrow glanced at Jun Xuanji and said. Chapter 21:12. Night Sorrow was stunned. He didn't expect Jun Xuanji to suddenly explode. Xuanji, calm down. Let's slowly resolve this. There's nothing that can't be resolved. Night Sorrow helped Jun Xuanji sit down. Night Sorrow, take me. I won't fight with Chu Yu and Yang Lei for anything. I won't even let them know. I just want to prove the emotional Tao. I just want to know that you like me. That's not asking for much, right? It's not like I'm wronging you. Even if you're wronged, no one will know. Jun Xuanji looked up at Night Sorrow and said the words that he had always wanted to say but never said. Xuanji, it's not me who's wronged, it's you who's wronged. That's why I've been avoiding it. We're brothers and sisters who have gone through life and death together. I don't want you to rashly decide your life. I don't want you to be wronged. Do you understand? Night Sorrow said. You don't want me to be wronged? Is that what you're thinking? Jun Xuanji looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Back then, when the 9 regions world fought with the profound mysteries realm, I hurt the Jun family and you. I've always felt guilty, so I don't want you to be wronged or unhappy. I hope you can believe me, Night Sorrow said as he patted Jun Xuanji's shoulder. Night Sorrow, I won't believe anyone in this life but you. Even if you're trying to trick me, I'll believe you. Jun Xuanji hugged Night Sorrow's waist. Night Sorrow wanted to say something but didn't know where to start. He had a way to deal with everything and had the courage to face it. Only this kind of thing was something he couldn't solve. Night Sorrow, do you hate me? Jun Xuanji asked in a low voice. Yishang saw Jun Xuanji raise his head and shake his head with misty eyes. Then do you like me? Jun Xuanji's words were even more direct. Xuanji, you know I don't want to answer this because it's not appropriate, Night Sorrow said after hesitation. There's only yes and no. There's no one else here. Jun Xuanji stood up and looked into Night Sorrow's eyes. She would not allow Night Sorrow to avoid her today. New chapter Yuan Q, alright. Night Sorrow nodded in agreement. This was also a fact. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Jun Xuanji's eyes lit up. His aura was completely different from before. Send me out, I'm leaving. Jun Xuanji smiled at Night Sorrow. She had achieved her goal of coming here today. She understood Night Sorrow, and it was enough for her to ask this question. Communicating with Night Sorrow was like boiling a frog in warm water, but if she was too anxious, Night Sorrow would retaliate. After sending Jun Xuanji off, Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief. This matter gave him a headache and it also involved Jun Xuanji's safety. If his Dao heart was not stable, it would be easy for big problems to arise in the future. Jun Xuanji and Imo Tianji's battle would happen sooner or later. Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. He wanted to raise his destruction attribute and spacetime attribute to the second sovereign tribulation. Then he would go and challenge the devil-winged race. It had always been the devil-winged race who took the initiative to challenge. Night Sorrow had never taken the initiative. The reason why he did not take the initiative was because Night Sorrow valued time and did not want to delay his cultivation. However, when he reached a bottleneck and needed to break through, he would go and attack and slap their faces. This was something he would do. Night Sorrow did not fight, but the challenges from the devil-winged race did not stop. During this time, Little Bonefire had already gained the title of the #1 Sovereign Emperor. The devil-winged race's sovereign emperors were not enough for him to kill. He had a body of merit bones that gave him tyrannical strength. In addition, he had the power of merit to support his domain. Some domains were suppressed in front of him. In addition, he cultivated Lu Qi's legacy. After every battle, Lu Qi would give Little Bone targeted guidance. It could be said that Little Bone had been improving. Tianyu also fought a lot. After all, there were many sovereign emperors. The devil-winged race could afford to lose them. As for Lin Chuan and Long Jin, Night Sorrow limited the number of times they could fight. When the devil-winged race's cultivators came out, Night Sorrow would only let them fight if he felt that it was okay. After Jun Xuanji returned to the gate of Nirvana City, he ordered the various factions of the Humanitarian League to gather some materials. There were all kinds of materials and they were very complicated. No one knew what they were used for. After giving the order, Jun Xuanji also left the gate of Nirvana City and went to Night Sorrow's residence to stay. Dachura said to Zhu Jiyun, "It's strange." Jiyun accompanied her during this time. In the Chaos Realm, Zhu Jiyun and Jun Xuanji had the best relationship. Zhu Jiyun nodded and left the gate of Nirvana City. I don't know what's going on with Xuanji. It's a special time now. Everyone should be careful. I don't know what she said to Night Sorrow, but she came back in high spirits, Lin Piaomiao said. Dachura and the others couldn't guess what was going on. There were some things that they couldn't ask. However, they vaguely knew that it had something to do with Night Sorrow. Jun Xuanji stayed in Night Sorrow's residence and didn't come out. No one knew what she was researching. Zhu Jiyun, who stayed with her, didn't know either. However, she knew that Jun Xuanji was refining some kind of medicine. Jiyun, how's your clone's cultivation? Jun Xuanji asked Zhu Jiyun while fiddling with the bottles. It still needs some time. I've wasted a lot of Night Sorrow's resources, Zhu Jiyun said. Her clone had been taken over by Imo Tianji, so she had to nourish it. Yeah. When my clone was destroyed, it was also because of Night Sorrow's materials and resources. Fortunately, my soul energy wasn't damaged, so I didn't lose much in cultivating my clone, Jun Xuanji said while fiddling with the bottles. Imo Tianji is too inhumane. If you have the same thoughts as her, I'll cut ties with you, Zhu Jiyun said. No way. You're so serious? Jun Xuanji looked at Zhu Jiyun. You don't have to be so serious about something I said? Zhu Jiyun was also puzzled and asked. This time I'm going to do something immoral and unkind. So, your words made me feel a little emotional, Jun Xuanji said while looking at Zhu Jiyun. If you can say that to me, it means that you treat me as a friend. I won't blame you. Tell me about it. It's tiring to carry this on your own. Zhu Jiyun poured a cup of tea for Jun Xuanji. Then I'll tell you. If you're against it, I'll give up immediately. I'll tell you the reason. Jun Xuanji told her about the conflict between his Dao heart and Emo Tianji's and the way to resolve it. We all know what kind of person Night Sorrow is. He's very self-disciplined in this aspect. Although he has several wives, he's not extravagant when it comes to relationships. This matter is very difficult, Zhu Jiyun said. Jun Xuanji told her about his conversation with Night Sorrow and emphasized his point of view. I know that he's not easily annoyed. So, I'm refining medicine now to teach him a lesson. Once is enough to make him submit. Chapter 21:13. That's right. The medicine is extremely powerful. It can even make dragons fall in heat. Jun Xuanji's face was a little red. She was also a woman, so it was not very suitable for her to make this kind of medicine. Xuanji, don't mess around. It's fine if it works, but if it doesn't, how embarrassing will it be? We won't be friends in the future. You have to know that he's an Emperor Tribulation cultivator and he has cultivated his body. Even dragons aren't as strong as him. You still want to drug him? Save it. Zhu Jiyun's face was full of shock. She didn't expect Jun Xuanji to have such a plan. N+X edition U. Chapter H, Section Part 1. If it's poison, it won't work. It will be repelled by the energy in his body and he will be vigilant. But the medicine I made won't. It's the Demon Wing Clan's medicine. It's colorless, tasteless, and non-toxic. It won't cause any resistance from his body. I don't believe that I can't make him fall over. Let me ask you, what do you think of this matter? If you can't let it go because of this, I'll let it go and think of another way. I like Night Sorrow, but I care about my friends. Jun Xuanji looked at Zhu Jiyun seriously. Then let me tell you my opinion. This matter goes against Night Sorrow's subjective will. But if it works, it won't hurt you too much. After dealing with the awkwardness, the negative effects will disappear. Night Sorrow won't be able to make love with you one moment and then stab you the next. I'm worried that you won't succeed. If you fail, there will be no end to it. Zhu Jiyun said. Then don't worry. I'll definitely succeed. I don't believe that I can't take care of him. Night Sorrow has never fallen into a trap before. This time he will fall into my trap. I'll make him remember. Jun Xuanji waved his arm. Alright then. Just pretend that I don't know about this. Sigh. Does this count as betraying Night Sorrow? Zhu Jiyun sighed. Jiyun, no matter what, I'm still an outstanding woman. I sent myself to his door and climbed into his bed. Do you think he's at a disadvantage? You still use the word betrayal? Jun Xuanji stretched out his hand and pinched Zhu Jiyun's breasts. Zhu Jiyun blushed from Jun Xuanji's pinch. He slapped Jun Xuanji's hand away and took a step back. I'm going to watch the show with trepidation. Come on. I might have a man soon. Of course he might pull up his pants and deny it, but I don't care, Jun Xuanji said with a big smile. Zhu Jiyun shook her head. As a bystander, she could not say anything. If Jun Xuanji had harmed Night Sorrow, she would have stopped him. Jun Xuanji's actions couldn't be considered as harming Night Sorrow. Moreover, Jun Xuanji's situation wasn't optimistic, so he had to be dealt with. Jun Xuanji continued to concoct pills. Ordinary pills were easy to concoct, but it was not easy to concoct pills that could overturn Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was an Emperor Tribulation cultivator, and he also had the indestructible golden body. Jian, I have some extra pills. I'll leave some for you. If you see someone good and you can't communicate with him, just drug him and take him, Jun Xuanji said with a smile while concocting pills. Jun Xuanji, if you're a man, you'll definitely think about your lower body. You'll definitely harm a lot of people. I'm guessing that Night Sorrow has already eradicated you. Zhu Jiyun looked at Jun Xuanji and said speechlessly. You're thinking too much. I, Jun Xuanji, have high standards. I won't eat just anyone. After so many years, I've only taken a fancy to one. Jun Xuanji was in a good mood because Zhu Jiyun had silently supported him. They were good sisters. Alright then. Remind me when you're going to do it. I'll pray for you. Although praying is a little nonsense, it's also nonsense for you. Zhu Jiyun said and left. She knew that this was a storm. It was different from other storms because it belonged to the chaos realm. Of course, if it wasn't handled properly, it would be chaotic. After sending Jun Xuanji off, Night Sorrow was in a dilemma for a while. He didn't know how to deal with this matter. He knew that Jun Xuanji was a good woman, and he couldn't bear to reject her. However, he didn't want to fall in love with her, so he didn't know what to do. After calming down, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. He felt that it was better to let nature take its course. As for Mo Qianji, it wouldn't be that easy for her to escape. After all, the desolate city's defenses were very tight. Night Sorrow didn't tell anyone about this because he had to protect Jun Xuanji's face. Half a month later, Jun Xuanji finished concocting the Heaven and Earth Harmony pellet. His main body came out of seclusion and tidied himself up. After putting on a red silk dress, he greeted Zhu Jiyun and left. He went down the Nirvana City's gate tower and walked towards Night Sorrow's area. Night Sorrow had ordered that no one within a 200-mile radius of his main body should come close. However, Jun Xuanji didn't care about that and went straight to where Night Sorrow's main body was. Night Sorrow, who was sitting cross-legged on the clear sky pagoda, stood up and said, "Xuanji, you're here." "You're here. You're in good shape." Jun Xuanji greeted with a smile. "It's all right. I've gained some benefits. Your main body has come out of seclusion. You have to hurry and cultivate. Only when your cultivation is high enough will you be able to take the lead in the battle with Mo Qianji." "I've been feeling uneasy," Night Sorrow said. "I'm very happy that you care about me. Let's talk inside your spatial treasure." "I'm not used to the Nirvana storm here," Jun Xuanji said. Night Sorrow nodded. He wrapped Jun Xuanji with his soul power and brought him into the clear sky pagoda. He didn't make any tea. He didn't know if Jun Xuanji would drink tea or wine. "You can rest assured. I've found a solution. I'm here to celebrate with you today." Jun Xuanji took out a jar of wine and filled the wine bowl. Of course, the medicine was in the wine. "It's great that you have a solution." Night Sorrow took the wine bowl and drank it all in one gulp. He then asked Jun Xuanji to continue pouring wine. After hearing that Jun Xuanji had a solution, Night Sorrow was really happy. He didn't need anyone to persuade him to drink. He started drinking by himself. Jun Xuanji wasn't bad. In fact, he was very outstanding. However, he wasn't a possessive person. He wanted the people around him to be harmonious. After finishing the bowl, Night Sorrow asked Jun Xuanji to pour more wine. "I'm really happy today." Seeing Night Sorrow's eyes filled with relief, Jun Xuanji couldn't help but feel sad. He knew that Night Sorrow really cared about him. After drinking a few bowls of wine, Night Sorrow's face was a little red. "Night Sorrow, if I make a small mistake, don't hate me or be angry. Women have a little personality and temper," Jun Xuanji said in a low voice. "I know. I won't be angry with you. If you cause trouble, I'll help you bear it." Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. "With your words, I'm relieved. Let's continue drinking." Jun Xuanji poured another bowl of wine for Night Sorrow and covered the wine jar. After 4 bowls of wine, the medicine was enough. Any more and it would be easy to cause problems. After drinking the wine, Night Sorrow rubbed his forehead. "This wine is very strong. Why do I feel a little dizzy and hot?" "Because it's good wine. I put in a lot of effort for this wine," Jun Xuanji said with a smile. Chapter 21:14. Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong. His whole body felt hot and then he lost consciousness. At this time, Night Sorrow's clone in the array also stopped cultivating. It looked normal, but in fact, its soul had stopped operating. It was as if it was resting with its eyes closed. This was the power of the Heaven and Earth Harmony pill that Jun Xuanji had spent a lot of effort to research. Could even knock down a giant dragon. The pill's effect was not only on the main body's soul and body, but also on the clone. Night Sorrow's main body was sitting on the chair and lying on the table. Jun Xuanji stood up and helped Night Sorrow to the cloud bed at the side of the secret cultivation room. But at this time Xiao Kong appeared. She was the clear sky pagoda's artifact spirit, so she could sense Night Sorrow very strongly. Night Sorrow drank too much. "I'll serve him. You don't need to care about him. Don't peek here," Jun Xuanji said to Xiao Kong. Xiao Kong looked at Jun Xuanji and left. She was sure that Jun Xuanji didn't have any killing intent. Moreover, as long as Jun Xuanji showed killing intent, she would know immediately and transfer Jun Xuanji out of the clear sky pagoda. Night Sorrow's soul had a problem, but his body was stimulated by the Heaven and Earth Harmony pill. Some reactions had appeared, but he didn't know it at all. Jun Xuanji laid Night Sorrow on the cloud bed. "Don't blame me. For me this is the best and most effective way." Jun Xuanji scolded as she helped Night Sorrow change his clothes. Night Sorrow's scourge was very scary. But at this time she had no way out. She could only brace herself. Swaying her skirt, Jun Xuanji looked up and exhaled. Because in the next moment, her most sacred and most private things would be given to the man in front of her. When everything started, Jun Xuanji let out a cry. She was prepared, but the reality was still cruel. When Jun Xuanji left, Yishang was still sleeping soundly. Jun Xuanji was worried that Yishang's body would be harmed by the Heaven and Earth Harmony pill. Even though he had just experienced it, Jun Xuanji accompanied Yishang to go crazy twice. After covering Night Sorrow with a blanket, Jun Xuanji asked Shao Kong to send her away. She was in a good mental state, but she was still nervous. She didn't know how Night Sorrow would react. When Yishang woke up, it was already the next day. When Yishang woke up and saw that his body was only covered with a blanket and some marks, he immediately understood everything. He didn't even need to ask little Kong. Zhu Jiyun appeared when Night Sorrow was 200 miles away from the cultivation place. She was waiting here. She handed a letter to Night Sorrow. Xuanji asked me to give this to you. He wants you to read it now. After giving the letter to Night Sorrow, Zhu Jiyun left. She couldn't help Jun Xuanji much, but she still did what she could. This letter was indeed Jun Xuanji's idea. After reading the letter, Night Sorrow sighed. He didn't say anything and returned to his original cultivation place. Then he turned around and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda. Jun Xuanji's letter made it very clear. If Night Sorrow didn't blame her and could forgive her, then don't look for her. She also didn't want this matter to become a big deal. In the future she would let nature take its course. She wouldn't change her principles and standards because of this matter. She also wouldn't make things difficult for Night Sorrow. Looking at the letter in his hand again, Yishang bitterly smiled. The thing he had tried his best to avoid had still happened. Furthermore, he had been pushed back. He had never thought that something like this would happen. As for the follow-up, Night Sorrow felt that he should find a suitable time to communicate with Jun Xuanji. Since this matter had happened, it had to be solved. However, he felt that Jun Xuanji also needed to be stabilized. Night Sorrow sighed and continued to cultivate. Jun Xuanji didn't leave the heavenly desolate city. She stayed in Night Sorrow's residence and waited for the news. If Night Sorrow came after reading the letter, then things would become troublesome. If he read the letter and went back to cultivate, then this matter wouldn't become a big deal. When Zhu Jiyun came back and told Jun Xuanji that Night Sorrow went back after reading the letter, Jun Xuanji let out a sigh of relief. This fierce medicine is still effective. Night Sorrow is also a sentimental person. What I did this time was worth it. I didn't misjudge him. After saying this, Jun Xuanji's aura changed. Although his cultivation and realm didn't increase, his Dao heart had changed. Positive asterisk square root version I initial I you're ruthless. I really admire you. Zhu Jiyun shook her head. She truly admired Jun Xuanji's courage to do anything. She really couldn't bring herself to scheme against Night Sorrow. Even if it didn't hurt Night Sorrow, Zhu Jiyun understood that Jun Xuanji was more or less influenced by Mo Tianji's personality. In the past, Jun Xuanji was good at scheming, but he wasn't this wild. Night Sorrow and Jun Xuanji went into closed-door cultivation. It was as if nothing had happened. Perhaps apart from the two involved, only Zhu Jiyun knew about it. Of course, Zhu Jiyun wouldn't reveal this matter. Because of the entanglement in his heart, Night Sorrow worked extra hard. In half a year, his void, destruction, and spacetime had all reached the peak of the First Emperor Tribulation. He could break through at any time. His soul force had already crossed this level. His soul force was 1/3 more than ordinary cultivators. This wasn't a simple number. It was equivalent to having 30% more strength. Before breaking through, Night Sorrow planned to kill a few elites of the Devil Wing clan. Mo Zhantian was very surprised that Night Sorrow appeared and took the initiative to challenge him. For a long time, Night Sorrow had never taken the initiative to challenge him. After careful observation, Mo Zhantian knew the reason. He found that Night Sorrow's cultivation had reached a bottleneck and was on the verge of a breakthrough. This situation surprised Mo Zhantian. Night Sorrow's cultivation speed was too fast. He didn't send anyone to accept the challenge. Even Yin Xiaotian and Shan Ling were at the peak of the First Emperor Tribulation. After refusing to accept the challenge, Mo Zhantian felt that this was an opportunity because every cultivator was in an unstable stage after breaking through. He told Yin Xiaotian and Shan Ling to seize the opportunity to break through. Shan Ling was an outstanding cultivator of the Thousand Mountain boundary. Then he told Dark Feather to prepare for battle. After Night Sorrow broke through, he didn't wait for Night Sorrow to stabilize his realm. After being refused the challenge, although Night Sorrow was a little annoyed, he didn't make any verbal attacks. Night Sorrow's original body and avatar left the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and went to the Samsara Island to undergo their tribulation. The tribulation came very fiercely. Even though Night Sorrow was prepared, he still suffered a big blow. It could even be said that more than half of the Jinchi in his original body was consumed. It was only because of his tyrannical body that he wasn't injured. When Night Sorrow returned to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, he found that there was no one there. The Grand Elder and Lu Qi weren't there. Lin Xuan and the others had also returned. After asking Lin Xuan, he found out that the elders of the 100 races were discussing something. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow jumped off the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, returned to his original cultivation position, and continued to cultivate. He wanted to stabilize his realm while cultivating. Chapter 21:15. When Luo Qing arrived, Night Sorrow was not back yet. However, just as Emo Qinji was checking the surroundings, Night Sorrow returned. Emo Qinji cursed inwardly. After confirming that the Grand Elder and Lu Qi were not around, Emo Qinji knew that this was her chance. Although she would have another chance if she persevered, she was worried that Jun Xuanji would make a mistake, which would threaten her safety. Luo Qing, our cooperation is over. I will kill you not because of the heavenly law oath, but because a traitor like you is the tragedy of an entire race. Emo Qinji appeared and rushed onto the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, charging forward at full speed. There were many cultivators on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, but Emo Qinji did not dare to move forward slowly. Her aura would easily attract attention. In fact, this was the case. The moment Emo Qinji appeared, someone sensed it. Yishang had sensed it. He had fought Emo Qinji more than once. Most importantly, the Nirvana Ocean Bridge was where his soul had merged with the world. He was very sensitive to all auras. Next was Emo Zhantian. He was from the same generation as Emo Tianji, so he was naturally familiar with her aura. The situation was serious. Night Sorrow let out a long whistle and sent out a signal. Then he prepared for battle. His doppelganger rushed toward Emo Zhantian. He had to stop Emo Zhantian from helping Emo Tianji. Even if he died, Night Sorrow would not let Emo Tianji return to Heaven Wasteland. She would affect the war situation. While his doppelganger went to stop Emo Zhantian, Night Sorrow's main body charged toward Emo Tianji. He had to stop her. Everything that happened stunned the Heaven Wasteland army and the cultivators of the 100 Races Alliance on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. In an instant, the Nirvana Ocean Bridge was filled with killing intent. After Night Sorrow got close to Emo Tianji, he first cut the space to block her path. Then he released the Samsara domain supported by the power of virtue. He slammed the Human Emperor's seal toward Emo Tianji with his left hand, and the Samsara halberd in his right hand was the destruction true dragon art. Night Sorrow attacked with all his might. He would not give Emo Tianji any more chances. On the other hand, Night Sorrow had to hurry because his clone would not be able to hold off Emo Zhantian for long. Once Emo Zhantian defeated his clone, Emo Zhantian would come over. At that time, even Emo Zhantian would not be able to stop him. Emo Zhantian would then take Emo Tianji away. Emo Tianji was stunned. She had sensed that Night Sorrow had returned, but she hadn't paid attention to his cultivation level. In her subjective impression, Night Sorrow was still the same old Night Sorrow, but now Night Sorrow was displaying the cultivation of the second sovereign tribulation, which was much stronger than hers. A miscalculation. Emo Tianji knew that she had miscalculated, but she had to rush forward and meet up with Emo Zhantian. This was her only chance. Emo Tianji circled around the area created by the spatial crack. Her body flashed forward, but she had lost her speed. Night Sorrow's Human Sovereign Seal, which was activated by the Human Sovereign's power, was extremely powerful. It had already enveloped her. Besides, the suppression of the reincarnation field was also extremely strong. No matter how knowledgeable and experienced she was helpless before the suppression of absolute power. After suppressing Emo Tianji's speed, Night Sorrow attacked with the Samsara halberd. He had to hurry because his clone had already come into contact with Emo Zhantian. The reincarnation true dragon spell had no effect on Emo Tianji's soul because her soul power was too strong. Even though she had been injured a few times, she was still at the level of the tribulation of the seventh sovereign. Her soul contained the Tao rhythm. Emo Tianji's soul power vibrated, resisting the influence of Night Sorrow's unique skill. However, her body could not avoid the complete suppression of Night Sorrow's Human Sovereign Seal and Merit Field. It was too easy for a human sovereign tribulation cultivator to suppress an imperial emperor, no matter how domineering Emo Tianji had been. In a panic, Emo Tianji swung her sword to block Night Sorrow's attack with the Samsara halberd. With a crisp sound, Emo Tianji's long sword was shattered by the Samsara halberd. Night Sorrow's Samsara halberd was shockingly heavy. Even Long Jin had a hard time holding it. How heavy was it? In addition, it had the element of destruction. Therefore, Emo Tianji's weapon was instantly destroyed, causing her to vomit blood. Beginning extreme kill. After finishing the Samsara attribute's unique skill, Night Sorrow used his unique skill again. For the sake of surprise, Night Sorrow did not hold back at all. He used the beginning attribute's unique skill directly. Emo Tianji's expression changed drastically. She recognized the attributes of Night Sorrow's two unique skills. However, she was still bound by Night Sorrow's field. It was difficult for her to dodge. Break! Emo Tianji roared. She broke her left arm and used it as a weapon to attack Night Sorrow's weapon. She had no weapon and did not dare to use her body to block Night Sorrow's attack. In order to buy time for Emo Jiantian to come and save her, she could only do this. She realized that Emo Jiantian had already defeated Night Sorrow once. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was indeed in a critical situation. What was Emo Jiantian's level? He was a 9 Emperor Tribulation. He was already preparing for the Divine Destruction Tribulation. On the other hand, Night Sorrow was a 2 Emperor Tribulation. The difference between the two was too great. The battle scene was just like the one between him and Emo Tianji. Kill? At this moment, the Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling appeared. The two of them walked around the city and planned to take a look at the city gate. Seeing this scene, the two of them were shocked. They did not expect such a scene to happen here. They had to support Night Sorrow first. They could not let anything happen to Night Sorrow. They knew how important Night Sorrow was to the Celestial Realm and the 100 Races Alliance. At this moment, Night Sorrow's doppelganger was defeated by Emo Jiantian for the second time. His right arm was fractured and the corner of his mouth was full of blood. This was the effect of his Merit's immortal body and spacetime realm defense. Otherwise he would have been killed instantly. You must die today. Emo Jiantian was also ruthless. Since the battle had already started, he had to maximize the benefits. He wanted to kill Night Sorrow and save Emo Tianji. These were the two major factors that would affect the situation. Seeing that Emo Jiantian was going all out to kill him, Night Sorrow used spacetime realm. His body switched between the alternate space and the celestial realm, reducing Emo Jiantian's attack to the minimum. Previously he was severely injured because he took the initiative to attack, not allowing Emo Jiantian to break through his blockade. Now that Emo Jiantian wanted to kill him, he naturally would not fight head-on. Emo Jiantian attacked Night Sorrow with all his strength. At the same time he moved toward the battlefield where Emo Tianji and Night Sorrow were fighting. Yin Xiaotian and the others from the Devil-Winged clan also surrounded him. Retreat! Emo Jiantian shouted. He knew that the experts from the Tianhuang city would arrive soon. Then the people he brought would not be able to escape. With a shout, Emo Jiantian slashed with all his might at the alternate dimension where Yishan was. Bang! After a muffled sound, the void and the alternate space shattered. Night Sorrow was blasted out of the alternate space by Emo Jiantian. His Dao domain was shattered and blood spurted out of his mouth. A cultivator who had fused with the soul was already at the peak of countless reincarnations. Night Sorrow could not fight against him. It could be said that he was a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Emo Jiantian slashed at Night Sorrow again. He wanted to kill Night Sorrow first before going to help Emo Tianji. There was no way to dodge and the reinforcements had not arrived yet. Night Sorrow exerted force with his left hand and threw the blood-Qilin evil-slaying spear towards Emo Jiantian's blade aura. He could not use the spear to block the attack. That way, his body would be affected and the situation would be even more dangerous. Chapter 21:16. However, Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling had arrived. Heavenly Astral King immediately used Icebound Heaven and Earth to suppress Emo Jiantian's speed. Huang Ling attacked with a sword light, cutting Emo Jiantian and Night Sorrow apart. The couple knew that they could not defeat Emo Jiantian, so their goal was clear. They wanted to delay Emo Jiantian and save Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow threw the blood-Qilin evil-slaying spear to buy himself some time. You two deserve to die. Emo Jiantian roared angrily. He knew that it was unrealistic to kill Yi Sorrow. Even if Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling's cultivation were not as high as his, It was unrealistic to defeat them in a short time. Emo Jiantian's body flashed, and he rushed towards the battle between Night Sorrow and Emo Tianji. If he could not kill Night Sorrow, then he would save Emo Tianji first. Saving Emo Tianji was also a victory. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Emo Tianji's battle was very intense. It was almost as if Emo Jiantian was crushing him. Emo Tianji's body and arms were already gone. They were all used to blast Night Sorrow away. Suppress. Seeing that Emo Tianji's condition was deteriorating, Night Sorrow's human emperor's seal came down towards Emo Tianji. Emo Tianji's body was suppressed by Night Sorrow's domain, and she could not move. She had no choice but to turn around and kick at the human emperor's seal. Emo Tianji's leg blocked the human emperor's seal, but she was also bound by the fire of virtue of the human emperor's seal. It started to burn her body. Soul destruction / Night Sorrow used his ultimate move again, attacking Emo Tianji. At the same time, he used the reincarnation True Dragon art with the reincarnation Heavenly Halberd. He did not plan to give Emo Tianji any chance because she was too good at jumping around. If he did not kill her, he did not know when she would cause trouble. Emo Tianji could not escape. Her energy was low, and she could not break free from the human emperor's seal. Night Sorrow's soul destruction / was blocked by her powerful soul power, but she could not dodge the reincarnation Heavenly Halberd this time, and it hit her body directly. Update July 7th. For blood and flesh flew everywhere. The halberd's destructive power shattered Emo Tianji's body, leaving only her soul behind. As a cultivator of the tribulation of the seven emperors, Emo Tianji's soul was filled with Taoist rhymes. Her soul body could be seen clearly. She struggled under the fire of merit of the human emperor's seal, but she could not escape. Night Sorrow not only activated the human emperor's seal, but also had the merit samsara domain to suppress it. Emo Jiantian rushed over. Night Sorrow did not give him a chance to save Emo Tianji. He used his domain to suppress Emo Tianji's human emperor's seal and ran towards Tianhuang City. Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling kept attacking Emo Jiantian to reduce his speed. Night Sorrow's clone suppressed his injuries and used the spacetime realm and void steps. He passed by Emo Jiantian, Heavenly Astral King, and Huang Ling's battle group and met up with his real body. He did not dare to stay on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Emo Jiantian's current goal was to save Emo Tianji. However, if Emo Jiantian attacked him on the way back, his clone would be destroyed. Night Sorrow, who was flying with Emo Tianji's soul body, was slower. However, Emo Jiantian was restrained by Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling, so he could not increase his speed. The two battle groups approached Tianhuang City. The cultivators on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge also retreated. Luo Cheng's heart pounded. He was glad that he had transferred his wife and children from Emo Tianji's spatial treasure to his spatial treasure. Otherwise, Emo Tianji, who could not escape, would have bitten him. Emo Jiantian, you are looking for trouble. The Grand Elder had appeared. Someone had already reported to the Council of Elders, and the Grand Elder had rushed over. Of course, it was a little late. If Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling did not appear, Night Sorrow's clone would have been killed. When the Grand Elder appeared, Emo Jiantian did not continue to approach Tianhuang City. His cultivation level was higher than the Grand Elder's, but the Grand Elder was in Tianhuang City with the support of Tianhuang City's array formation. Emo Jiantian could not take him down in a short time. Soon, the Tianhuang City Lord and King Yo Wu would appear. Then he would be in trouble. At this time, Night Sorrow had also entered the Nirvana City's gate tower. Night Sorrow began to deal with Emo Tianji. If he did not do it now, when would he do it? With the human emperor's seal suppressing Emo Tianji, Night Sorrow's samsara halberd began to stab at Emo Tianji's soul body. He was really angry. This Emo Tianji was really tricking him. Zhu Juyun's clone had been killed, and his clone had almost been killed. Emo Tianji could not escape. Night Sorrow's suppression was much stronger than Yen Wushuang's. He used the karmic taboo Dao domain and the human emperor's seal to suppress her. Back then, Yen Wushuang had only been a soul body. She had only used her soul power to activate the human emperor's seal. The power was much weaker. Night Sorrow stabbed the samsara halberd 4 times in a row. Emo Tianji's soul body was unstable. Night Sorrow's soul trembled and put the defenseless Emo Tianji into the human emperor's seal. After putting Emo Tianji's soul body into the space of the human emperor's seal, Night Sorrow felt relieved. As long as he was alive, Emo Tianji would not be able to do anything. He planned to deal with her later. Now he wanted to see what Emo Jiantian wanted. I want Tianji's soul body. You can name the price. Emo Jiantian shouted as he retreated. Go to hell. The Grand Elder was furious. Why would he talk to him? He rushed out and started the fight. Night Sorrow, are you okay? Lin Piaomiao stood beside Night Sorrow. My original body is fine. My clone was almost killed by that guy. The difference in strength is too big. If I had come a little later, I would have been dead. Now, I only have half of my life left. I won't be able to recover for a while, Night Sorrow said. At this time, the real battle had begun on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. The Grand Elder's original body and clone were fighting at the same time. Intent Realm spear arts were unleashed. Old Man Duan, this is your territory. I won't tangle with you anymore. Next time I'll take your life. Emo Zhantian roared as he retreated. The Grand Elder couldn't stop Emo Zhantian from leaving, but he didn't stop him. Instead, he threw out a few words. Emo Zhantian, your Demon Wing clan is an inferior race. Your reputation and dignity are **T. Don't talk to us about gentlemen's battles in the future. When we see cultivators from your Demon Wing clan, we will fight to the death. Old Man Duan, what do you want in exchange for Tianji's soul body? You can name the price. Emo Zhantian shouted as he retreated. Night Sorrow, give him a definite answer. The Grand Elder looked at Night Sorrow. You want Emo Tianji's soul body? Dream on. As long as I'm alive, it's impossible. I'll deal with her later. Night Sorrow shouted. There was no way he would let Emo Tianji go. There was no chance at all. We're willing to pay the price. Think about it carefully. Emo Zhantian retreated as he spoke. Emo Zhantian, we, Night Sorrow, will remember the grudge of 3 slashes today. Night Sorrow shouted at Emo Zhantian's back. After Emo Zhantian left, Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the Heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling. Thank you for your help. Don't mention it. We discovered it too late and caused you to be injured. The Heavenly Astral King said. Chapter 21:17. Night Sorrow didn't have time to deal with the aftermath. He had 2 things on his mind right now. The first was to heal his clone, and the second was to deal with Emo Tianji. As for the damaged blood-Qilin evil-slaying spear that he had thrown out and then retrieved, Yi Shan planned to repair it later. After returning to the mansion, Night Sorrow glanced at Jun Xuanji, who was still in the mansion. Then he turned to Ji Dao and said, I won't see anyone for a while. After saying that, Night Sorrow released the Clear Sky Pagoda. His clone came out from his main body and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda, holding his broken right hand with his left hand. You're injured? Seeing Night Sorrow's clone disappear, Jun Xuanji's eyes were filled with worry. It's fine. I've captured Emo Tianji. This time I'll deal with her once and for all. Night Sorrow nodded. I'll go see her and tell her that Emo Tianji's era is over. From now on, this soul belongs to Jun Xuanji, Jun Xuanji said. It's best if you don't interact with her. It won't do you any good. Night Sorrow shook his head. I'm cultivating the emotional Dao now. My Dao heart is firm, so it's fine. Jun Xuanji said. There's really no need. I'll go in and kill her. Night Sorrow shook his head. Night Sorrow, have you ever thought about subduing her? If you can completely subdue her and let her return to her main body, wouldn't our Chaos Realm have another super expert? Jun Xuanji suggested. It's a good idea, but you should know that Emo Tianji isn't someone to be trifled with. It's very difficult to subdue her. It's almost impossible, Night Sorrow said. I'm willing to deal with her with you. The main reason is that killing her doesn't seem to be good for me. Our souls come from the same place. She's the main body. If she dies, I really don't know how it'll hurt me, Jun Xuanji said in a low voice. Then what should we do? Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. He really didn't know that there would be such repercussions. Because of what happened a while ago, my Dao heart has stabilized. Later, I'll ask the Grand Elder to undo the seal on my soul. I'll influence her soul. You can think of other ways to make her swear an oath to the Tao of Heaven to acknowledge allegiance to you. When her soul is no longer autonomous and noble, then the heavenly Tao will judge that she has lost her dominant position, and I will be the dominant soul, Jun Xuanji said. Night Sorrow didn't say anything and only nodded. Since Jun Xuanji had said so, he couldn't directly destroy Emo Tianji's soul. Also, he knew what Jun Xuanji was talking about. Jun Xuanji left to meet the Grand Elder. She hoped that the Grand Elder could undo the seal on her soul. Not long after, the Grand Elder and Jun Xuanji arrived at Night Sorrow's small courtyard. He respected Night Sorrow's opinion on some matters. Whether Jun Xuanji was reliable or not depended on Night Sorrow. When the Grand Elder arrived, Night Sorrow understood what was going on. No one knew better than Night Sorrow whether Jun Xuanji was reliable or not. After pouring a cup of water for the Grand Elder, Night Sorrow nodded. Grand Elder, please don't worry. If I, Jun Xuanji, betray the 9-domain world in Night Sorrow, I will be destroyed by the heavens and earth. Jun Xuanji waved his hand and made an oath. Who was she? She was a smart person and naturally knew the meaning of the Grand Elder's arrival. As the Humanitarian League's general manager, the 9-domain world is still the most important. Your alliance chief is the most important. The Grand Elder smiled. He knew that Jun Xuanji's oath was very meaningful. Grand Elder, please forgive me. Our 9-domain world is the most harmonious. As long as Night Sorrow is here, it will always be harmonious. However, the 100-race alliance is different. Grand Elder, you should understand this, Jun Xuanji said. The Grand Elder smiled. I understand your concerns, but you don't have to worry about them in the future. The Enforcer Elder's position in the 100-race alliance's Elder Council is very high. Who can touch the young city lord of the divine capital in Tianhuang City? Who can say anything about the human emperor of the human race? Jun Xuanji smiled and nodded. She also knew this. She just left a way out for herself. Seeing that Night Sorrow said that there was no problem, the Grand Elder undid the seal on Jun Xuanji's soul. After the seal was undone, Jun Xuanji's expression changed. Her soul had been impacted by Mo Tianji's true body-soul consciousness. When Jun Xuanji had become an emperor, her soul had been impacted. However, that was the memory of fate. Now she was affected by Mo Tianji's true body-soul. Jun Xuanji had been impacted, but so had Mo Tianji. At this moment, Mo Tianji's soul within the human emperor's seal space held her head with both hands and cursed. The moment Jun Xuanji undid the seal on her soul, she knew everything. She knew that her soul's reincarnation had given herself to Night Sorrow. Her Tao heart was on the opposite end of the spectrum. Grand Elder, I won't accompany you anymore. I'll go deal with that fellow. She will never become a scourge in the future. Night Sorrow cupped his fists at the Grand Elder. Putting down the teacup in his hand, the Grand Elder stood up and said, Dealing with Mo Tianji is a big matter. Go do what you need to do. If there's anything, come find me. Mo Tianji has snuck into Tianhuang City. This matter needs to be investigated and dealt with. After sending off the Grand Elder, Night Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji. His soul power wrapped around Jun Xuanji and brought him into the human emperor's seal space. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. At this moment, in a corner of the human emperor's seal space, Mo Tianji's soul was trapped in a barrier formed by the fire of virtue. Mo Tianji's soul was constantly bumping into the barrier. However, every time she would be bounced back by the fire of virtue and let out a miserable cry. You adulterous couple. I'll definitely kill you. Seeing Night Sorrow and Jun Xuanji enter the human emperor's seal space, Mo Tianji cursed loudly. This was different from before. In the past, Mo Tianji did not speak much. If she could fight, she would not make a sound. However, she was now somewhat hysterical. Stop shouting. Who's the adulterous couple? Are you talking about yourself? Jun Xuanji held Night Sorrow's arm and leaned on Night Sorrow's body. You're shameless. You should know that we are the pride of the Devil-Winged clan. You've fallen into depravity and forgotten your past glory, Mo Tianji cursed at Jun Xuanji. She found that she had completely lost control over her reincarnated body. Now her reincarnated body soul was in charge. Moreover, it had a different standpoint and Tao heart from her. Shut up. I'm Jun Xuanji from the 9 Domains world. I fight for the 9 Domains world. The past is the past. It belongs to you, Mo Tianji, not me. I came to see you today to talk to you about some things. You don't need to shout at me. First, Night Sorrow won't kill you, but you can kill yourself. Second, if he doesn't kill you, he won't let you live well. He'll torture you every day until you kill yourself. Do you understand? Jun Xuanji glared at Mo Tianji. Chapter 21:18. This reincarnation cycle had entered the 9th era, and Mo Tianji had lived for 9 eras. She could see through everything. As soon as Jun Xuanji spoke, she knew Jun Xuanji's intention and goal. His goal was to occupy the dominant position in the soul. Don't even think about it? You're smart like me, so you know it very well. You just don't want to face it. Do you think you have the ability to resist? Heaven Wasteland domain has entered the last reincarnation cycle, the last era. The world's fate has run out, and you don't have any fate on you. You're trapped in the space inside the human emperor's seal. Do you think you have a chance to escape? Can you withstand the endless cycle of reincarnation? Jun Xuanji smiled and asked a series of rhetorical questions. Even if I can't, I will. Until someone saves me, until you kill me. Emo Tianji's soul glared at Night Sorrow and Emo Tianji. If looks could kill, Night Sorrow and Jun Xuanji would have been riddled with holes. No one can save you. After this conversation, I'll send you to the 9-domain world to be suppressed. You know the 9-domain world situation. Those with higher cultivation than me can't enter, but what can those with lower cultivation do? Do you think they can save you from me, the Realm Lord? Impossible. Night Sorrow shook his head. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Emo Tianji didn't say anything. She just stared at Jun Xuanji. She knew that Night Sorrow was telling the truth. You can't take it. Kill yourself. That way you'll have more dignity. Jun Xuanji laughed. Lowly slave, can't you live a bit more arrogantly? Must you crawl under men? They're all trash. Emo Tianji looked at Jun Xuanji and cursed. Jun Xuanji laughed and hugged Night Sorrow. He kissed Night Sorrow's cheek and said, You've lived for 9 eras, but you don't know how good men are. You don't even know about the matters between men and women. Ah. Night Sorrow wanted to move away, but he received Jun Xuanji's soul transmission. He had to cooperate. I can't wait to strangle you. Emo Tianji's body shook and her expression changed. Her soul had been attacked. What Jun Xuanji was seeing wasn't enough. Jun Xuanji had also sent the memories of him and Yi Shang to Emo Tianji's soul. It's useless. You don't have a chance. Night Sorrow, the human emperor's seal is a holy relic and cannot be desecrated. Let's find a place and show her the things between men and women that she doesn't know. Perhaps she'll be willing to commit suicide, Jun Xuanji said. Night Sorrow nodded, feeling both admiration and speechlessness towards Jun Xuanji. From the beginning to the end, he had never mentioned anything about making Emo Tianji submit. Instead, he had made Emo Tianji commit suicide to destroy Emo Tianji's confidence. Other than that, his methods were also extremely vile. Emo Tianji pointed at Jun Xuanji and wanted to curse, but she didn't. She understood that Jun Xuanji's personality was the same as hers. They were both decisive people who only cared about their goals. Night Sorrow, the body suppressed by the 9-domain world is also mine. You promised the Devil-Winged clan that you wouldn't desecrate it, but returning it to me isn't considered desecration. She and I share the same soul. This is recognized by the heavenly Tao. Jun Xuanji looked at Night Sorrow. I haven't thought about this, but you're right. Night Sorrow nodded after thinking about it. Despicable and shameless. That's the body I cultivated for 8 eras. Jun Xuanji, are you going to take it from me just like that? Hearing Jun Xuanji's words, Emo Tianji became anxious. If Jun Xuanji used that body, she wouldn't be able to take it back because that body was compatible with Jun Xuanji. Night Sorrow, can you teach me the triple origin doppelganger that you cultivated? I'll use her body first, then you can use the virtuous fire to slowly roast her until she commits suicide. You don't have to bother with her in the future. Jun Xuanji didn't reply to Emo Tianji. First 5 shots % are, Night Sorrow, state your conditions. I can give you anything she can give you. You can have any treasure you want, or however many Saint Spirit stones you want. Just say the word. Emo Tianji ignored Jun Xuanji. She knew that Jun Xuanji was determined to kill her. Rather than using Jun Xuanji, she might as well use Night Sorrow. You can't give me what she can. She wholeheartedly cares about the 9-domain world and wholeheartedly fights for the 9-domain world. Can you do that? That's why I'm willing to do my best to help her rise. Don't say that I'm cruel to Night Sorrow. There's an irreconcilable hatred between us. My master Yen Wushuang also died because of you. So even if it's a little extreme, I still have to do it. Don't resent me. Night Sorrow shook his head at Emo Tianji. Yen Wushuang. How can you pin Yen Wushuang's death on me? That bastard failed his tribulation and went to the infinite wasteland to start a massacre in the Demon Imperial City. He killed several batches of elites from the Demon Wing clan. In the end, he set up a formation in the infinite wasteland mountain to ambush me. It's also because of him that I'm in such a bad situation today. Who do you think should take revenge? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Emo Tianji's emotions became unstable again. Even if you're right, it won't change anything. But as one of the 3 grand heavens of the Demon Wing clan, you should know that we're on different sides. I'm not going overboard. Let's go, Xuanji. Night Sorrow exhaled. You don't want to talk anymore? Jun Xuanji looked at Night Sorrow. She was a little surprised. Their goal today was to subdue Emo Tianji, but Night Sorrow wanted to leave after just 1 sentence. Let's not talk about it anymore. There's no need to hide it from her. Originally, I supported your idea of making her submit and work for the 9 domains world. Then, I'll give her her original body. But now I've changed my mind. Since you can use that body, there's no need to talk about it. Let the fire of virtue trap her and let her live and die on her own. She can commit suicide whenever she wants. Knight Sorrow waved his hand and the human Tao sacred scripture, Tao Te Ching, appeared. The golden runes added to the fire of virtue, making it even more exuberant. Jun Xuanji was very surprised, but he could understand Knight Sorrow's decision. As for Mo Tianji, she was shocked. She knew that Knight Sorrow was the human sovereign of the human race, the virtuous monarch. He wouldn't say things that were inappropriate, but what he said was definitely the truth. There was no lie in it. Knight Sorrow really didn't want to give her a chance. Looking at Mo Tianji, Yi Shang's arm shook as he punched out, causing Mo Tianji's soul to become unstable. Then he grabbed the spatial treasure in Mo Tianji's finger with his right hand. Mo Tianji's soul body shook for a while before stabilizing. She didn't curse anymore because it was meaningless. We don't judge a hero by victory or defeat. I, Knight Sorrow, acknowledge your past achievements. I hope that you can maintain your dignity and dominance in the final stage. After this matter is resolved, I will erect a cenotaph for you at the place where we fought on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Knight Sorrow said, and returned to the real world with Jun Xuanji. Knight Sorrow, why did you change the plan? Jun Xuanji looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Because the plan now doesn't require too much effort, Knight Sorrow said. Chapter 21:19. So that's how it is. Then let's just torture her for a while, Knight Sorrow said. You really put on a show just now. Because you really wanted to kill her, there was nothing fake about it. She'll take it for real, Jun Xuanji said. To be honest, I didn't want to humiliate her. No matter what, she's still a powerful cultivator. Besides, Master Wushuang's revenge can't be blamed on her, Knight Sorrow said. That's true. Wushuang's sword monarch went to fight after failing his tribulation. Later on he scattered his soul. Jun Xuanji nodded. She agreed with Knight Sorrow's point of view. Inside the space of the human emperor's seal, the fire of merit strengthened by the scriptures of the human emperor's seal was very strong. However, the white-haired Mo Tianji seemed to be fine. The pain in her heart wasn't because of the fire of merit, but because she couldn't accept her defeat. Who did she lose to? She lost to reality in herself. Her reincarnated body merged with reality and defeated herself with reality. Mo Tianji wasn't afraid of death. She just couldn't accept it. She couldn't accept being trapped in this world like this. Besides, if Knight Sorrow didn't take care of her, she wouldn't have much time left. Her 8th Emperor Tribulation was coming. Knight Sorrow's clone was healing in the time acceleration. After a cultivator entered the Saint Realm, they could regrow their limbs. However, Knight Sorrow's body was very strong. He needed a lot of energy and resources to recover from his injuries. Knight Sorrow's blood Qilin evil-slaying spear was only fine at the tip of the spear. The rest of the spear was cracked. It couldn't withstand Mo Zhantian's attack. 0. Yi Shang organized his materials and realized that he was still lacking a little, so he asked his wives about it. Jun Xuanji asked for some in the Humanitarian League. Knight Sorrow's request wasn't complicated, but it was rare. He wanted materials with strong void attribute. His reincarnation halberd was close to the destruction attribute and was very compatible with the reincarnation taboo attribute. However, he didn't have a beginning attribute weapon yet. He couldn't fully unleash his combat power. After learning of Knight Sorrow's needs, Pu Luo sent some materials to Knight Sorrow. He was the leader of an old force, so he had a relatively deep foundation. Since he was already an Emperor rank weapon forger, Knight Sorrow had no problem refining weapons. Also, if he wanted to forge his own weapon, Knight Sorrow would be the most suitable. Within the 8-Dragon Cauldron, time was accelerated. Knight Sorrow had spent more than half a year refining the spear. The spear tip was still the blood Kirin's tailbone, and the spear shaft was made of top-notch materials such as nothingness, space-time, and life. It was most suitable for the beginning's attack. Knight Sorrow had just exited the 8-Dragon Cauldron when he felt the human emperor's seal vibrate. Mo Tianji was looking for him. Carrying the new gun, Knight Sorrow entered the inner space of the human emperor's seal. You were looking for me? Knight Sorrow asked as he tried out the new gun. That's right, I'm looking for you. I want to live. Tell me, what do I need to do? Mo Tianji looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow's gaze moved from the blood-Kirin evil-slaying spear to Emo Tianji. He was surprised. Yes, I want to live. Tell me what I need to do. Don't think I'm a spineless person. If it were any other time, I wouldn't commit suicide or submit even if I had to carry it for thousands or even millions of years. However, I don't have time because the 8th Emperor trial is coming soon, said Emo Tianji. I don't think you're a spineless person. I just didn't expect things to change so quickly. Then I'll tell you what I need. I don't want you to be a threat anymore. You're one of the giants of the Devil Wing race. Your influence is too great and you're a variable. I don't want this variable to exist. This is also the reason why I must force you to commit suicide, said Night Sorrow. I promise not to participate in the war between the Devil Wing race and the Celestial Realm. Is that okay? Said Emo Tianji. No. Since you want to live, let's talk. Humans have a saying called, a slim chance of survival. It means that nothing is absolute. To respect the heavenly Tao, I can't cut off your slim chance of survival. Now I'll tell you what I need. Remember, you don't have the chance to bargain. Night Sorrow looked at Emo Tianji and said, Tell me. Emo Tianji nodded. Night Sorrow had already decided to let her die and let her perish on her own. She knew this, so she understood that it would be very difficult to change Night Sorrow's mind. Swear to the heavenly Tao and submit. You must listen to my orders unconditionally. Don't get too excited. As the virtuous emperor, I promise that after you submit, I won't trample on your dignity. In the future, other than obeying orders, you can be a cultivator who strives to reach the peak of cultivation, Night Sorrow said. You said that I don't have the right to bargain, but there are some things that I still have to say. Emo Tianji looked at Night Sorrow. That's fine. Say it. Whether you agree to it or not is another matter. I'll give you a chance to speak. Night Sorrow nodded at Emo Tianji. As the holy ancestor of the reincarnation of the Demon Wing clan, I can't slaughter the people of the Demon Wing clan. Secondly, I can listen to your orders, but you can't let that bitch humiliate me. Everything about me has nothing to do with her. Before I swear to the heavenly Tao, I'm willing to cut off all ties with her, including the karma of fate. Also, as you said, you won't trample on my dignity, Emo Tianji said. I'm satisfied that you didn't ask for anything. I can agree to the other two conditions but not the first one. However, I'll take a step back. I won't let you fight in the Demon Wing clan's war in the Celestial Realm. However, if they attack the 9-domain world or if I, Night Sorrow, have a war with other worlds or races, you have to fight. Your existence has to follow my wishes. Otherwise, your existence is meaningless to me. This conversation has lost its fundamental meaning. Do you understand? Night Sorrow said. Deal. The Demon Wing clan will no longer have Emo Tianji. Then, does your promise to erect a cenotaph at the Nirvana Ocean Bridge still count? Emo Tianji asked. Yes, then swear to the heavenly Tao first. Night Sorrow said. The human emperor's seal vibrated, and the virtuous fire wrapped around Emo Tianji appeared in the hall of the mansion. I Emo Tianji swear. Emo Tianji raised her arm. Can you swear an oath of allegiance while standing? Yi Shang wasn't willing. I almost forgot something. Can you return my weapon to me first? Emo Tianji looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow threw Emo Tianji's storage ring back to her. He hadn't refined it yet and he had been busy recently. Emo Tianji opened the storage ring and took out a long sword. Although it looked like her soul body was holding it, it was actually supported by her soul power. Fate above, I, Emo Tianji, am willing to give up everything in the past including my previous life, reincarnation, and the karma of this life. / Emo Tianji's long sword burst with light, and then she slashed the void 3 times. Night Sorrow's eyes twitched. He knew that the 3 slashes of the void had a great meaning. It was to sever the karma of the previous life, reincarnation, and the current life. Ordinary people couldn't do it. Chapter 21:20. Do you really not know or are you faking it? The heavenly law oath is judged by the heavenly law and the world's origin. Who can change it? Emo Tianji asked. Then let's begin. Night Sorrow said. At this moment, Jun Xuanji appeared. Seeing this, she naturally understood what was going on. I didn't think that you would still compromise, Jun Xuanji smiled. Jun Xuanji, you're dreaming if you want to overturn the situation. You're smiling because you think that your soul and personality are superior to mine, right? Looking at Jun Xuanji, Emo Tianji smiled disdainfully. She then turned to face Night Sorrow and raised her hand above her head to swear the heavenly law oath. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and sensed. He found that Mo Tianji's soul had indeed gained some special power. Alright, let's return to the 9-domain world and swear the heavenly law oath again. Then, everything will be over and you will start a new life. Night Sorrow nodded to Mo Tianji. Mo Tianji stood up. She could only follow Night Sorrow's request. If she disobeyed Night Sorrow's orders, she would have violated the heavenly law oath. After sending Mo Tianji back into the human emperor's seal, Night Sorrow nodded to Jun Xuanji and left the residence. He was going to return to the 9-domain world. Looking at Night Sorrow's back, Jun Xuanji cursed inwardly. His original plan was that even if Mo Tianji did not die, she would be reduced from being the leader to a subordinate. However, Mo Tianji's fate 3 decapitations had severed all of this. In the future he would no longer be Mo Tianji's subordinate. Actually, Mo Tianji also thought the same. She did not want to become Jun Xuanji's subordinate. Fate and karma have been severed, but some feelings will still remain. Mo Tianji, you called me a bitch. You'll see, Jun Xuanji waved his arm. Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to the 9-domain world and went to the Sky Sealing Palace. After sending Mo Tianji out of the human emperor's seal space, Night Sorrow looked up at the sky. This is the 9-domain world. It's a supreme world in the future. It's the most important place to me. I need to swear the heavenly law oath again. Mo Tianji naturally understood. She also knew that Night Sorrow did not completely trust her. Although the human emperor's fire of virtue did not burn her, it was still trapping her. She had no choice but to kneel down and swear the heavenly law oath. The 9 regions' origins power had also merged with Mo Tianji's soul. This meant that if she went against the heavenly Tao oath, the 9 regions' origin would destroy her soul. Usually, the world's origin would not attack a cultivator for no reason. However, it was different after swearing an oath to the heavenly Tao. Seeing Mo Tianji swear the heavenly Tao oath, Night Sorrow took back the human emperor's seal's fire of virtue and summoned the 9-region origin body. Venerable, take her to the heaven-sealing grand palace and let her merge with my true body. Do whatever she needs. Mo Tianji, it's not appropriate for you to go to the celestial realm alone. If you need anything, just shout from the heaven-sealing grand palace and I'll be there. You can merge with my true body first, said Night Sorrow. Mo Tianji bowed towards Night Sorrow. She knew that the moment she made the heavenly oath, she had bid farewell to her past. Mo Tianji, one of the 3 grand heavens of the evil winged clan, was already dead. She was only alive because she wanted to reach the peak of the Grand Tao. Night Sorrow left the 9-domain world. His heart was at ease. Mo Tianji's problem was solved. She wouldn't be able to cause any more trouble. As long as Mo Tianji dared to violate the heavenly Tao oath, she would be turned into ashes in an instant. In addition, Night Sorrow also knew that Mo Tianji, who had lived for 9 eras, was a smart person. She was different from other hotheads. First release. After returning to the mansion in the heavenly desolate city, Night Sorrow and Jun Xuanji sat facing each other. Jun Xuanji was a little embarrassed. What happened a few days ago was not clear to Jun Xuanji, but she remembered it clearly. Mo Tianji swore an oath to the heavenly way. She won't harm you, the 9 zones world or the celestial realm. You can say that the problem has been solved, Night Sorrow said. Yes. Now that you've solved a huge problem for the celestial realm, you should be rewarded with a lot of power of virtue, right? Jun Xuanji asked. You've improved quite a bit. Don't change the topic. How are you going to deal with that? Night Sorrow asked Jun Xuanji. Night Sorrow, you're thinking too much. Do you think I have to marry you just because I did it with you once? You're too conservative. I've never thought about this. I don't want to be restricted. In the future, I'll be me and you'll be you. If you want it, you can ask me out. I'll satisfy you. When I'm in a good mood, I might ask you out. What do you think? Jun Xuanji said with a smile. Nonsense. Night Sorrow glared at Jun Xuanji. I'm not fooling around. I don't want to be restricted by my family and I don't want to live like that. I'll think about it later. Also, I'll keep myself clean. With such a promise, you won't feel bad, right? Jun Xuanji said. Night Sorrow got up and left. He didn't know what else to say. There were 2 sides to the story and he couldn't feel good about himself. From the root of this matter, Jun Xuanji liked him a little. However, she wanted to be with him to solve the problem of her Tao heart. He strongly emphasized that it wasn't appropriate to solve anything else. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, Jun Xuanji smiled. He felt pretty good because things weren't too bad. He didn't need to face Lin Piaomiao and the others. After Night Sorrow left, Zhu Jiyun arrived. Xuanji, the domain lord, didn't get angry, right? He wanted to get angry, but he's not the kind of person who would just wipe his mouth after eating. So you know the result. Jun Xuanji was in a good mood. Alright. Xuanji, you're the big winner this time, Zhu Jiuyun said with a smile. Speaking of which, I really need to apologize to Night Sorrow. My personality and way of doing things were indeed influenced by Mo Tianji, Jun Xuanji said. Zhu Jiuyun nodded. She hoped that the people from the Nine Domains world would be harmonious. She didn't want any problems to happen. Jun Xuanji was indeed a little lawless recently. Night Sorrow arrived at the gate of Nirvana City. The Heaven Wasteland army at the gate of Nirvana City bowed to greet him. They truly admired Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was able to fight against the three great heavens of the Demon Wing clan and capture one of them. This was courage and ability. After nodding to the Heaven Wasteland army, Night Sorrow went to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. He went to the area where he and Mo Tianji fought. Night Sorrow stretched out his right hand and grabbed a protruding hard rock near the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Then he stuck it on the side of the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. What is this guy doing? Huang Ling, who was standing on top of the gate of Nirvana City, looked at her husband. How would I know? Who can understand his world? The heavenly astral monarch shook his head. Night Sorrow took out the Samsara heavenly halberd and began to carve words. Chapter 21-21. As Night Sorrow's arm shook, lines of words appeared on the stone. Yishang gave an objective evaluation of Mo Tianji and wrote down the time of her death. Then he engraved his name. Yishang of the human race respectfully stood there. After the inscription was done, the cultivators on the Nirvana gate knew that Yishang had taken care of Mo Tianji. As Yishang finished the inscription, a crack appeared on Mo Tianji's statue in the sacrificial tower of the demonic imperial city. It had lost its usual charm. The Demon Wing clan elder guarding the sacrificial tower quickly reported this to Mo Zhantian. When he arrived at the sacrificial tower and saw Mo Tianji's statue, Mo Zhantian looked up and sighed. He knew that something had happened to Mo Tianji. The crack on the statue was a result of karma. Mo Zhantian also saw Night Sorrow use the Samsara halberd to shatter Mo Tianji's body and use the fire of virtue to trap her. Logically speaking, the Celestial Realms 100 Races Alliance would not let Mo Tianji live. Although Mo Zhantian already had a premonition in his heart, he still received quite a shock when he confirmed the news. Mo Tianji had died in the 7th era. They had known each other for 7 eras. As the three greatest heavens of the Demon Wing clan, they had a very deep relationship. In the previous 7 eras, Mo Tianji was the leader of the three greatest heavens. Shaking his head helplessly, Mo Zhantian left the sacrificial tower. He knew that the Demon Wing clan had lost a huge helper in the battle against the Celestial Realm. The battle between the Celestial Realms 100 Races Alliance and the Demon Wing clan had ended. Because Mo Zhantian had broken the rules, the Demon Wing clan did not dare to come to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. The 100 Races Alliance would not hold back anymore. If they saw any Demon Wing clan members again, they would kill them immediately. There was no such thing as a gentleman's agreement. Unable to change the situation, Mo Zhantian could only wait for Mo Yutian to come out of seclusion. He was not strong enough to face the Celestial Realms 100 Races Alliance head-on. Night Sorrow left his main body on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge and released the Clear Sky Pagoda to continue cultivating. His avatar returned to the heavenly desolate city. Arriving at the top of Nirvana City's gate, Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the heavenly Astral King and Huang Ling. Thank you, both of you. If it weren't for your timely assistance, my clone would have been destroyed. Night Sorrow will remember this favor. Your Majesty, you think too much. You are fighting for the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. This is not a personal matter. Besides, you can choose to fight regardless of life and death. All the members of the Celestial Realm should help you. Everyone should support you, said the Heavenly Astral King. If we're talking about favors, then it's the Ice Phoenix race that owes you. You're the one who took care of concubine Ling for us and helped our matriarch grow up smoothly. This is a huge favor. Besides, you have a good relationship with concubine Ling. You're like family. You don't have to be polite with us, Huang Ling said. Then Night Sorrow won't mention this anymore. Let's talk more in the future. Night Sorrow smiled and left. So young. Huang Ling muttered as she watched Night Sorrow leave. He's really bold and capable. Who can compare to a 1,000-year-old Second Emperor Tribulation cultivator? He's destined to be a legend. The Heavenly Astral King was also very emotional. The young people of this era are very powerful. The group of people who first followed Night Sorrow in the Nine Regions world are now all accomplished. Those who are familiar with Night Sorrow in the Celestial Realm are also rising rapidly. Look at the Humanitarian League. Lu Qi appeared and said after looking at the few people from the Humanitarian League stationed at the gate of Nirvana City. In fact, this was indeed the case. After the few elders of the Humanitarian League met Night Sorrow, they began to rise rapidly. Pu Luo was already at the peak of the Third Emperor Tribulation and could enter the Fourth Emperor Tribulation at any time. In the 100 Races Alliance, aside from a limited number of people, he was a cultivator who stood at the top. Ruisi and Yu Zhu used to be Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Now, they had broken through to the Second Emperor Tribulation. Lin Piaomiao and the Great Demon Lord were also at this level. Fen Tian was also preparing to break through to the First Emperor Tribulation. Of course, the main reason was that everyone had a deep foundation in the past. However, after meeting Night Sorrow, their smooth journey also had a lot to do with it. Of course, breaking through to the Emperor Tribulation meant giving up the lifespan between the current and the Emperor Tribulation. For example, if one's lifespan was less than one era, breaking through to the Third Emperor Tribulation meant giving up more than 2 eras of lifespan. In addition, the members of the First Army had also improved quite well. Of course, the ones who improved the most were Night Sorrow's family. They were Night Sorrow's wife and daughter, as well as the God-slaying team. The speed of their improvement was unparalleled. If it wasn't for the comparison between the cultivators produced in the past 1,000 years, any one of them would be an outstanding talent of an era. The replacement of the old Supreme World and the new Supreme World is a great era. In addition, the birth of the human emperor will also lead a trend of reincarnation. The most important thing is that they are hardworking enough. Everyone around Night Sorrow has a thriving spirit. They don't even care about their lifespan. How can they not achieve anything? No one has done this in the past. Only Night Sorrow and a few people from the Human Dao sect dared to do this. Lu Qi was a little emotional because he suppressed his cultivation and didn't take the initiative to break through to the tribulation. Seventh Elder's words make sense. No matter how outstanding they are, no one can deny their hard work. Let's not talk about others. Just look at Night Sorrow's path of rise. He fought and killed his way out. Without great courage and perseverance, no one can be envious and jealous of him. The Heavenly Astral King nodded. To be honest, I feel sorry for this group of children. Really, their efforts and desperation are very distressing. We also see hope from them. Huang Ling was a woman. Her feelings were different from Lu Qi's and the Heavenly Astral King's. Pu Luo, Great Demon King, this era is an era where the 100 Races Alliance of the Celestial Realm will fight. If we win, the creatures of the Celestial Realm will remember you and your sacrifice of your lifespan. Lu Qi looked at Pu Luo and the Great Demon King who were guarding the city gate and said, Seventh Elder, before we met our Alliance Master, we indeed wouldn't be so radical. However, after seeing our Alliance Master fearlessly attack the taboo attribute despite knowing that he only has one era to fight, we, the Humanitarian League, have no reason to shrink back. If we live, we have to live brilliantly. Living a mediocre life is nothing compared to living a few more eras, Pu Luo said with a smile. Lu Qi smiled at Pu Luo. In the 100 Races Alliance's Elder Council, there are many law enforcement elders and even more ordinary elders. However, no one lives more freely than you. No one lives more freely than you. Everyone is either concerned about their reputation or the rules. They all live in a square box. However, you do things according to your heart. This is something that others can't learn. Pu Luo, it's a complete anomaly that you can become a law enforcement elder. Perhaps it's because of your sunshine and freedom. However, it's really quite infectious. Ruisi and Yu Zhu, who are by your side, also live more freely than others, Huang Ling said with a smile. She had known Pu Luo for a long time. Chapter 21-22. Hearing Pu Luo's words, everyone looked toward the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. That was where Night Sorrow and his brothers had left their glorious footprints. Night Sorrow stopped outside the mansion. Go in? If he went in and spent all his time with Jun Xuanji, he would feel that it was inappropriate. However, if he didn't go in, he wouldn't be able to return to the mansion in the future. Just as he was hesitating, Zhu Juyun appeared. Sir, what are you thinking about? Zhu Juyun greeted him. Nothing much. Night Sorrow shook his head. Naturally, he didn't want anyone to know about his relationship with Jun Xuanji. However, he didn't expect Zhu Juyun to know about it so well. Zhu Juyun smiled. Xuanji said that Mo Qinji's problem has been solved, so she won't be staying in Heaven Wasteland City. The elders of the Humanitarian League are not doing anything. She has already gone to Divine Capital to deal with the Humanitarian League's matters. Zhu Jiyun said. She told Night Sorrow that Jun Xuanji wasn't around to dispel his worries. She naturally knew the knack of it. Night Sorrow nodded and entered the mansion. His wives weren't around either. A few of them were at the gate of Nirvana City, while the rest were at Reincarnation Island. After returning to the mansion, Night Sorrow adapted to his new spear. It was much stronger than the Blood Qilin evil-slaying spear. The tip of the spear was still the same as the tailbone of the Blood Qilin evil-slaying spear. However, the material of the spear shaft had changed. It was tougher and more suitable for his use. After familiarizing himself with the new spear, Night Sorrow took the teleportation formation to Reincarnation Island. The 4 commanders of the Heaven Wasteland Army were all there. He couldn't just ignore them. After understanding the situation and checking on the cultivation of the formation, Night Sorrow and the Golden Dragon King drank a few jars of wine. Alright, go do what you need to do. This king will help you keep watch here. The Demon-Winged clan won't attack. Even if they do, they won't be able to defeat them, the Golden Dragon King said. Night Sorrow left behind 2 jars of wine for the Golden Dragon King before leaving. Since his wives were not around, Night Sorrow left Reincarnation Island and returned to his home in the Night Moon Villa of the Ethereal Dynasty. When he reached home, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment because his family was there. It was rare for his family to be reunited, so Night Sorrow accompanied his family. He also left some resources for Hong Yi and Lan Ning, who were in charge of the mansion. The 2 of them helped Night Sorrow manage the mansion and some of the Yi family's businesses. It wasn't easy for them. Night Sorrow also talked to Shiryu alone. Mo Tianji's problem had been solved, and Shiryu no longer needed to stay here. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Shiryu nodded. With young city lord's cultivation, no one can mess around. I'll go back now. Thank you, Uncle Shiryu. You've worked hard. Night Sorrow respected Shiryu very much. She was the personal servant of his martial king. Seeing that his family was busy, Night Sorrow said that he would be back at night and went to Starmoon City. When they arrived at Starmoon City, Yishan chatted with Lu Qi and thanked him for taking care of Starmoon City. With Mo Tianji's problem solved, not only Night Moon Villa, but also Starmoon City's crisis. Lu Qi left. In the past he really didn't dare to leave. Mo Tianji's existence was too big of a threat. Now that the crisis was solved, he didn't need to stay here. After sending Lu Qi off, Yishang drank a cup of tea with his master, Emperor Qing, his master's wife, and his senior sister, Qing Wan. Only then did he return to the Yeyue Villa in the ethereal imperial city. New Chapter 1, Section 6, above/E. As for Mo Tianji in the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow's 9-domain doppelganger had been paying attention to her. Currently, Mo Tianji's soul and body were fusing. Night Sorrow wasn't sure if it was successful or not. After Mo Tianji's soul entered the main body, there was no news about her. Night Sorrow knew that when Mo Tianji's soul and body finished fusing, her cultivation would increase exponentially. Even if she didn't return to her peak state, it wouldn't be too far off. Mo Tianji's soul realm was high. When she tried to take over someone else's body, she would have to cultivate from scratch. She would have to cultivate the energy in her body. However, her main body didn't need it. The dantian and meridians in her main body were at their peak state. She might lack energy, but what she lacked wasn't the foundation. What she lacked was consumable energy. As long as there were resources, she would be able to replenish it quickly. Yishang told his family about Mo Tianji's matter and also told them about his plans. Night Sorrow didn't plan on letting Mo Tianji participate in the war between the 100 Race Alliance and the Devil Wing clan in the Celestial Realm. No matter what, Mo Tianji was the sacred ancestor of the Devil Wing clan. It wasn't appropriate for her to slaughter the Devil Wing clan's people. He couldn't force her. Night Sorrow planned on letting Mo Tianji become the protector of the 9-domain world. In other words, if there was a war in the 9-domain world, she would have to participate. No one in the Yi family objected to subduing Mo Tianji. In the 9-domain world and the Primal Chaos realm, the Yi family was famous for being magnanimous. They weren't bloodthirsty or warlike. Son, Mo Tianji is a wild woman. You have to be careful. Don't be tricked by her and don't be tempted by her. Also, she owes Juyun. When she recovers, you have to bring her to Juyun and give him an explanation, Yu Qing said. Mother is right. Juyun is from the 9-domain world. She has invested a lot in controlling the Nether Realm and stabilizing the 9-domain world. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this matter had to be dealt with. Zhu Jiyun didn't say anything, but she definitely held a grudge. After all, Mo Qianji had taken over her avatar, which was equivalent to taking her life. The Yi family's banquet was held at a large round table. Everyone who should be at the table was present. "Son, I hope that our family will have more children, but that's enough," Yu Qing, who hadn't cared about Night Sorrow, said during the meal. "Mother, don't worry. Your son will be disciplined." Night Sorrow stood up and bowed to his parents. Then he cupped his hands to his wives with an apologetic look in his eyes. "Night Sorrow, what are you doing?" Sikong Chuyu, who was closest to Night Sorrow, grabbed Night Sorrow's arm. "I've said it before. I didn't let down everyone in the world. However, I didn't do my duty to the family and to you," Night Sorrow said. "Sit down. Everyone knows about you." Datura smiled. She understood Night Sorrow because she and Night Sorrow were forced to do something beyond their abilities. "Nianxiao, what's the situation with you?" After sitting down, Night Sorrow looked at Yi Nianxiao. "Brother, I'll make the best use of my time. Let me have a quiet meal today." Yi Nianxiao stood up and poured a cup of wine for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled and didn't say anything. He believed that Yi Nianxiao already had an idea. "Father, you've cultivated the taboo attribute. Will the god extinguishing calamity come after an epoch?" Yi Qingyan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow only had one epoch to fight. This was no longer a secret in the Yi family. Currently, almost everyone in Night Moon Empire's Yi Linghuan's lineage was a king. In other words, before reaching the Emperor realm, they had the qualifications to be immortal. In terms of lifespan, Night Sorrow was the most important. Chapter 21-23. "You're putting too much pressure on yourself," Sikong Chuyu said. "An era is not short, it's 100 billion years. How long have we lived?" "It's only 1,000 years, Night Sorrow said. After listening to Night Sorrow's words, no one said anything, because 100 billion years was indeed a long time for everyone. Right now, everyone's lifespan was only a little more than 1,000 years. Then the family members asked about Night Sorrow's plan. Night Sorrow told them his plan. He intended to stay on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge to improve his realm, while his doppelganger would deal with some matters in Starmoon City and Tianhuang City. If he had free time, he would cultivate. Everyone supported Night Sorrow's decision. Night Sorrow needed to improve his realm, which everyone knew. It was not appropriate to let Night Sorrow rest. In addition, it was currently the last era of the struggle between the 100 Races Alliance and the Demon-Winged Clan in the Celestial Realm. It was also a critical juncture. "Night Sorrow, aren't you going to Medicine Valley to take a look?" Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. "Why should I go?" "I'm not going. Those people can't be spoiled. If we give them too much attention, it will become their capital to do whatever they want. If you want to get together with Master and Senior Brothers, just inform them and let them meet in Sky City or Starmoon City." Yang Lei directly opposed. She was now very angry. She felt that some people in Medicine Valley were spoiled. They were not shit, but they still used nepotism to pull the family's development. This made her very annoyed. "According to Ninth Senior Sister, our Taishan Peak members are fine, but the members of the other peaks are somewhat disappointing." Night Sorrow nodded. He was not a calculative person, but some members of Medicine Valley used their relationship with him to bully the Southern Dipper Sect, Thunder Rumbling Sect and Holy Light Temple. They simply had no bottom line and did not know their own identity. Aoi did not persuade anymore. Night Sorrow's attitude toward Taishan Peak had not changed. As for the situation of the other peaks, Night Sorrow could not be blamed for being angry. They had indeed gone too far and even had no bottom line. The strongest person in the family was not even a king or even a holy king. What qualifications did they have to bully other kings and emperors? They were just using Night Sorrow's face to look down on him. "Night Sorrow, you issued the domain leader's command and expressed your attitude. There are some things that you don't have to worry about. Those who don't work hard but still put on airs will be beaten to a pulp. The 9 regions world is a place with rules. Not to mention the Yi family, there are also Chenji Tower and Deathly Hall. There are some unspoken rules, and whoever violates them will also be punished." Yuuyo said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that there were some things that he did not have to deal with deliberately. As long as he expressed his attitude, it was enough. Tjingji% / version first released. The dinner was very good. Then, Night Sorrow, Father Gu, and Yi Wuyo went to the waterside pavilion of the mansion to drink a cup of tea. Yishan was no longer worried about Gugu's father. With the support of his top-notch pills that could change one's aptitude and increase one's comprehension, Gugu's father had already entered the Saint King realm in the past 1,000 years. Even if he cultivated slowly, the possibility of entering the Sovereign King realm within 10,000 years was very high. After the family gathering, some of them returned to the Nine Regions world. Night Sorrow's wives stayed behind to accompany Night Sorrow. After it was quiet, Night Sorrow accompanied his wives in the Night Moon Villa. When he was free, he went to the Twilight Tea House to drink tea or cultivate the Wuji Spear technique. His doppelganger could not increase its realm, but it could improve its battle techniques and mastery. When the mastery of the Wuji Spear technique increased, the actual body could use the Wuji Spear technique to cultivate the Wuji attribute of the Wuji Spear technique. In the absence of war, the situation was very stable. After the Humanitarian League handed the task of guarding the gate to the Heaven Wasteland Army, those who should retreat retreated. The God-slaying team came to the Night Moon Villa, and even the First Army came. Anyway, there was no war now. Since everyone was here, Night Sorrow did not chase them away. If there was a war, they could just go back. A month later, Wu Lingfei also came to the Night Moon Villa. To Night Sorrow's surprise, Long Xianxing also came back. Now Long Xianxing had to change his name. He should be called Emperor Long Xianxing. He had stayed in the Black Tortoise race's territory for a long time, and his cultivation had reached the Emperor realm. Compared to the others who had returned to the ancestral land to cultivate, he came back later and his cultivation speed was slower. Night Sorrow knew that this was related to the race's characteristics. The lifespan of the Black Tortoise race's cultivators was different from normal cultivators. For normal cultivators, Sage Kings had a lifespan of 10,000 years. However, the Sage Kings of the Black Tortoise race had a lifespan of tens of thousands of years. Night Sorrow held a banquet to welcome the return of Wu Lingfei and Emperor Long Xianxing. Emperor Long Xianxing first apologized to Night Sorrow. Because he did not participate in the war, he did not accept the title of Emperor Long Xianxing. In the Nine-Domain world, there were many people who were more accomplished than him in the Primal Chaos domain. However, no one had the title of Emperor or Emperor Lord. Night Sorrow did not force him and called him Elder Long Xianxing. This was because Long Xianxing was an elder in the Nine-Domain world's Commander-in-Chief's office. During that period of time, the cultivators of our Nine-Domain world were snatched away and taken away. I felt very bad because I, as the Realm Lord, couldn't take care of you all. Fortunately, everyone has returned. We can face the enemy together, said Yishan. While Yishan was guiding others in their cultivation, he was also focusing on his own cultivation. He was focusing on improving his Wuji attribute. Yishan was confident that he could improve his realm in 100 billion years. However, it was very difficult to improve his taboo attribute. If he couldn't break through a bottleneck, he wouldn't be able to break through it. Night Sorrow would occasionally go to Tianhuang City and Reincarnation Island to take a look. However, he did not go to God's capital. This was because there were things that he could not deal with there. Night Sorrow could not deal with Jun Xuanji's matter. Moreover, he felt that the main responsibility for this matter was not his. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. Night Sorrow's main body had cultivated for 300 years. However, the improvement in these 300 years was not great. The fastest improvement was the Void attribute, which was still at the middle stage of the Second Emperor Tribulation. The Destruction attribute and Space attribute had also improved, but it was not as obvious as the Void attribute. As for the Infinity attribute that Night Sorrow cared about the most, it was still at the middle Emperor rank. Mo Qinji still did not make any movements. Night Sorrow did not know the details. Half a year after Mo Qinji's soul and main body merged, the spatial treasure in her hand enlarged. Her soul and main body entered the spatial treasure. Ordinary spatial treasures couldn't store other spatial treasures. They had to be of a higher grade. The Heaven-Sealing Great Hall was a magic treasure, but it was also a building that displayed the core of the world. It had no problem storing spatial treasures that weren't of a particularly high grade. In this situation, if Mo Qinji did not come out, Night Sorrow would not know the situation. On the other hand, Jun Xuanji, who was dealing with the Humanitarian League in God's capital, noticed something wrong. In the past 10 years, Night Sorrow had been to the Nine-Domain world, the Chaos Realm, Tianhuang City, and Reincarnation Island. However, he had not come to God's capital. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.